Have you ever held something in your hand worth more than your car? Something so small you could drop it on the floor and lose it forever, yet so valuable that just one single piece could pay off your entire mortgage. What if I told you right now, at this very second, there is a coin sitting in someone's pocket change, maybe even yours, that is worth a staggering $35,000. Not in a museum, not in some billionaire's vault, but out there in the wild, hiding in plain sight. And the craziest part is that most people who have it have absolutely no idea what they are holding. They might use it to buy a cup of coffee without realizing they just spent a life-changing fortune on something that cost them absolutely nothing. Stick with me until the very end because I am about to show you exactly how to spot this coin, the one tiny mark that changes everything, and why this particular coin has driven collectors absolutely insane for over 60 years. This is not just a coin, this is a jackpot hiding in your spare change, and once you know what to look for, you will never look at a penny the same way again. Let me ask you a serious question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean really looked at it. For most of us, pennies are annoying. They pile up in our car cup holders, they sit forgotten in old jars, we toss them into fountains and make wishes, never thinking twice about where they came from or what they might actually be worth. But here is the thing that the ultra-wealthy coin collectors do not want you to know. While you and I have been ignoring these little copper pieces, a secret war has been raging in the coin collecting world over one specific penny from 1964. Not 1963, not 1965, but specifically 1964. And not just any 1964 penny, but the one with a tiny, almost invisible letter D stamped right there below the date. That little D is not just a letter, it is a marker of destiny, a symbol that separates a worthless 1-cent coin from a 5-figure treasure. And right now, I am going to blow your mind with the full story that has been kept quiet for decades. To truly understand why this coin is so valuable, you have to understand the madness that was happening in 1964. The United States was going through a coin shortage crisis unlike anything they had ever seen before. People were hoarding coins, silver prices were skyrocketing, and the United States Mint was under unimaginable pressure to pump out as many coins as humanly possible. The Denver Mint, marked by that little D, was working around the clock, machines overheating, dies wearing down faster than they could be replaced. In that chaos, in that frenzy of mass production, something incredible happened. A small number of pennies were struck with such unique characteristics, such rare die varieties and minting anomalies, that they became instant legends the moment they left the press. The workers did not even know what they were making. They were just doing their jobs while accidentally creating some of the most sought-after coins in American history. And now those same coins, the ones that slipped through the cracks during that chaotic year, are worth more than most people make in an entire year of working a full-time job. Now here is where it gets really interesting, and I need you to pay very close attention because this is the information that coin dealers hope you never find out. The 1964 D penny with a repunched mint mark, known as the RPM variety, is the Holy Grail. What does that mean? It means the little d below the date was punched twice by mistake. If you look under a magnifying glass or even with a strong phone camera zoomed in, you can see a faint shadow or doubling of that D. It looks like a ghost image sitting right next to the main letter. This error happened because the mint worker had to strike the mint mark by hand into the working die back then, and sometimes the first strike was not deep enough, so they did it again slightly off position. That tiny human error, that split-second mistake made by a tired mint worker over 60 years ago, transformed an ordinary penny into something collectors will pay $20,000, $25,000, even $35,000 to own. Think about that. The mistake is what makes it valuable. The imperfection is what creates the perfection. It is almost poetic in a way, something flawed becoming priceless because of its flaw. But wait, because I have not even told you the most shocking part yet. Even if your 1964 D penny does not have the doubled mint mark, it could still be worth an absolute fortune. There are other varieties from that same year and that same mint that are just as rare and just as valuable. The 1964 D penny with a double die reverse is another monster. This is where the lettering on the back of the coin, the words 1 cent and United States of America, show clear doubling that is visible without any magnification at all in the strongest examples. Then there is the SMS version, the special mint set strike that was never supposed to be released to the public. These coins have a completely different finish, a satiny smooth surface that looks almost like a proof coin but deeper and richer. If you find a 1964 penny with that distinct SMS finish and the D mint mark, you are holding something so rare that auction houses will fight each other for the right to sell it. We are talking values that can exceed $50,000 for a single coin in top condition. $50,000 from a penny. Let that sink in for a moment. That is a brand new SUV, that is a year of college tuition, that is a down payment on a house, all sitting inside a coin that you might have walked past 100 times without noticing. Now I know what you are thinking. You are thinking this sounds too good to be true, that there is no way a regular person like you or me could ever actually find one of these coins. But here is the truth that the gatekeepers in the coin collecting community do not like to admit. These coins are still being found. Not a year goes by without someone, a regular everyday person just like you, walking into a coin shop with a priceless rarity they pulled from a bank roll or found in a deceased relative's old coin jar. Just a few years ago, a family cleaning out their grandmother's house found an old coffee can filled with pennies. Inside that can was a 1964 D penny with the rarest die variety known, and it sold at auction for over $40,000. The grandmother had no idea. She just saved pennies her whole life, never knowing that one of them was worth more than everything else she owned combined. That story is real. These discoveries happen constantly, and the only difference between the people who get rich from this and the people who stay broke is knowledge. The knowledge I am giving you right now for free. So what do you do now? How do you check your coins and potentially change your life in the next 5 minutes? First, go get every penny you can find. The jar in your closet, the change in your couch cushions, the coins in your car, bring them all to a table under a bright light. Look at the date first. Find every single 1964 you have. Then flip them over and look for that D mint mark right below the date, on the left side of Lincoln's bust. If you see no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia and is not what we are hunting today. If you see that beautiful little D, your heart should start beating a little faster. Now grab your phone, turn on your camera, and zoom in as close as you can to that D, look for any signs of doubling, any shadow, any split in the letter that should not be there. Examine every detail of the coin. The condition matters tremendously. A coin that looks brand new, with full red copper color and no wear on Lincoln's cheek or the wheat stalks on the back, is worth drastically more than a worn brown coin. If your coin has that original mint red color, you might have just hit the jackpot of a lifetime. Do not clean the coin, do not rub it, do not polish it. Cleaning a coin destroys its value instantly, turning a $30,000 coin into a $30 coin in 1 second. Place it carefully in a protective holder and get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, grading costs money, but would you rather spend $50 to confirm you have a $35,000 coin, or never know and risk losing a fortune? The clock is ticking right now on these coins. Every single day that passes, another 1964 D penny gets spent, gets lost, gets thrown into a Coinstar machine and melted down, gone forever. The supply shrinks while the demand from wealthy collectors grows larger every year. The coin you hold in your hand right now is only going to go up in value. 10 years from now, these same coins will be worth double what they are today. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to turn pocket change into a fortune. So I am asking you, are you going to be the person who watches this video, thinks it is interesting, and then forgets about it 10 seconds later? Or are you going to be the person who actually takes action, who goes and checks their coins right now, and who might just discover that they have been sitting on a gold mine this entire time without realizing it? Do not let this slip away. Go check your pennies. Your future self will thank you, and when you find that rare 1964 D penny and cash it in for enough money to change your entire life, all I ask is that you come back to this video and leave a comment telling your success story. I want to hear about it. I want to celebrate with you. Now go, start hunting, your fortune is waiting for you in your spare change. Have you ever held something in your hand worth more than you realized? Something so ordinary, so overlooked, that you almost threw it away without a second thought. That's exactly what happened to me. And today, I'm going to share with you the incredible story of one of the most misunderstood coins in American history, the 1965 no mint mark penny. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another coin video, let me promise you something. By the end of these next few minutes, you will never look at loose change the same way again. You'll be checking every penny that passes through your hands. And the reason why might surprise you more than you expect. Let me take you back to 1965. The Beatles were dominating the radio. Lyndon B. Johnson was in the White House. Gas cost about 31 cents a gallon. And the United States Mint was going through one of the most turbulent transitions in its entire history. You see, 1965 marked the year when the Mint stopped using silver in dimes and quarters. The country was facing a coin shortage. People were hoarding silver coins because the metal itself was becoming more valuable than the face value of the money. The Mint had to act fast. They had to completely change how they made coins. And in the middle of all this chaos, something fascinating happened at the Philadelphia Mint, something that would create one of the most talked about pennies in collecting history. Here's what makes the 1965 no-mint-mark penny so special. The Philadelphia Mint, which is the main minting facility in the United States, traditionally did not put a mint mark on their pennies. This was standard practice for decades. But 1965 was different. This was a transitional year. The Mint was experimenting, adjusting, trying to keep up with demand while changing their entire production process. And the pennies that came out of Philadelphia that year, without that little letter under the date, have become a symbol of that chaotic moment in American history. When you hold a 1965 no-mint mark penny, you're holding a piece of that transition. You're touching 1965. You're connecting with an era when everything was changing, not just in coins, but in the entire country. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might have heard rumors online about a 1965 penny being worth thousands or even millions of dollars. You might have seen articles or videos making outrageous claims. And I want to be completely honest with you, because honesty is what builds trust, and trust is what this channel is all about. The vast majority of 1965 no-mint mark pennies, in circulated condition, are worth maybe a few cents over face value. In uncirculated condition, with bright red color and no wear, they might sell for a few dollars to the right collector. But here's where the story gets interesting, and this is the part most people completely miss. The true value of this coin isn't always measured in dollars and cents. The true value is in the story it represents and the hunt it inspires. Because when you start looking at 1965 pennies, you start paying attention. You start noticing details you never noticed before. You start looking for errors, for varieties, for those tiny little differences that separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary discovery. And let me tell you about some of those errors and varieties that serious collectors look for in 1965 pennies. There's the double die obverse, where the lettering and date appear slightly doubled under magnification. There are off-center strikes where the design isn't perfectly centered on the coin. There are die cracks and die breaks that create interesting raised lines across the surface. Any one of these errors could take a common 1965 no-mint mark penny and turn it into something that a collector would eagerly pay $50, $100, or even several $100s to own. The key is knowing what to look for. The key is training your eye. The key is understanding that you're not just looking at a penny, you're examining a tiny piece of art and history that went through an incredible manufacturing process almost 60 years ago. Think about the journey a 1965 no-mint mark penny has been on. It was struck in Philadelphia at a time when the mint was working around the clock to produce enough coins for a growing nation. It was likely shipped in massive canvas bags to banks across the country. It passed through countless hands, grocery store clerks, gas station attendants, children buying candy, adults paying for their morning coffee. It sat in cash registers and piggy banks. It was dropped on sidewalks and picked back up. It was saved in jars and rolled into paper wrappers. For nearly 6 decades, this tiny piece of copper has been circulating through America, quietly witnessing history, never complaining, just doing its job as 1 cent of United States currency. And now, in 2026, it might be sitting in your pocket or your change jar right this moment, waiting for someone like you to finally give it the attention it deserves. I want to share a personal story with you. There was a time in my life when everything felt overwhelming. Bills were piling up. Health challenges made every day a struggle. I won't go into all the details because some things are still too difficult to talk about. But I will tell you this, coin collecting became my escape. It became my meditation. Sitting at my desk with a magnifying glass and a pile of pennies, carefully examining each one, searching for something special, it gave me a sense of purpose when I desperately needed one. And the 1965 no-mint-mark penny was one of the first coins I ever really studied. I remember finding one in perfect condition, bright red, with every detail crisp and clear. And in that moment, holding that small piece of history, I felt connected to something bigger than my own problems. I felt like I was part of a community of people all around the world who share this same passion. That feeling is worth more than any price guide could ever tell you. So here's what I want you to do. After this video ends, I want you to go find your change jar or your coin collection or wherever you keep your loose change. Look through every penny. Check the dates. When you find a 1965 penny, look for that empty space under the date where a mint mark would be. If there's nothing there, you've got a 1965 no mint mark penny from Philadelphia. Hold it in your hand. Think about where it's been and what it's seen. Examine it closely for anything unusual. And if you find something interesting, I want you to come back to this video and leave a comment telling us what you found. Share your discovery with our community. Because that's what this channel is really about. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the connections we make along the way. I'm going to be completely real with you for a moment. I started this channel because I love coins. But I continue making these videos because of people like you, people who share this curiosity, this passion, this drive to learn and discover. Your comments, your support, every single view, it genuinely means the world to me. This community has become like a family to me. And when I share these stories with you, when I tell you about coins like the 1965 no mint mark penny, I'm sharing a part of myself too. So whether you've been collecting coins for 50 years or you're just starting today with a single penny from your pocket, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being part of this journey with me. Before we wrap up, let me give you a few quick tips for examining your 1965 no mint mark penny. First, always hold it by the edges to avoid getting fingerprints on the surface. Oils from your skin can damage a coin over time. Second, use a good light source. Natural daylight is best if you have it. Third, a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe with at least 5 times magnification will help you see details you'd never notice with the naked eye. Look at Lincoln's hair, the lettering of liberty, the date itself. Look for anything that seems doubled, misaligned, or unusual. And if you're not sure what you're seeing, take a clear photo and share it with the community. There are thousands of experienced collectors who would love to help you identify what you found. The next time someone dismissively calls it just a penny, you'll know better. You'll know that inside that simple copper coin is a story spanning nearly 6 decades. You'll know that the 1965 no mint mark penny represents a pivotal moment in American minting history. And you'll know that the real treasure isn't always about getting rich, sometimes it's about the knowledge you gain, the community you join, and the simple joy of discovering something meaningful in the most unexpected places. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this video gave you a new appreciation for the humble penny, I'd be honored if you'd give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Share this video with someone who might have a 1965 penny sitting in their pocket right now. And as always, keep looking at your change, because you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and happy hunting. Brothers and sisters of the coin collecting world, welcome back to Hidden Coin Authority, and today we are not doing an ordinary video. Today we are going to unlock a mystery that could be sitting in your pocket right now, a coin so special, so rare, and so incredibly valuable that once you learn what it truly is, you will never look at a simple penny the same way ever again. So please, I am begging you with my whole heart, do not click away, do not skip, stay with me until the final second. Because what I am about to reveal could literally change your financial life, and I mean that from the depths of my soul. We are talking about the legendary 1972 no mint mark penny, a coin that has confused millionaires, shocked auction houses, and made ordinary people just like you and me suddenly realize they were holding a small fortune in their hand without even knowing it. Now listen to me very carefully because every single word in this script matters. The year 1972 was a massive year for The United States Mint, they were pumping out billions, and I mean billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies from Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia Mint had a tradition, a very crucial tradition. They never put a mint mark on their coins, while Denver coins proudly displayed that little D and San Francisco coins carried that distinguished S. The Philadelphia coins remained silent, mysterious, bearing no letter under the date. And this silence, this absence of a mark, is precisely what creates the storm of confusion and the thunder of value that we are going to dissect today, because you see most people find a 1972 penny with no letter under the date and they think, oh, it is just a common cent, nothing special, throw it in the jar, spend it on a soda. But what if I told you that within this single date, within this single no mint mark category, there exists a hidden monster of rarity, a variety so dangerous to your sense of reality that once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and this is the 1972 double die obverse, the king of the Lincoln Memorial series. Now hold your breath and pay absolute attention here, because this is where the magic happens, and this is the part that separates millionaires from the rest. You must grab your magnifying glass, your jeweler's loupe, your strongest reading glasses, and you must look at the date 1972 on the front of the coin. And you must look at the inscription Liberty and the motto In God We Trust, and if the United States Mint gods have smiled upon you, you will see a dramatic, unmistakable doubling, not the weak machine doubling that worthless eBay listings try to sell you. I am talking about a crisp, clear, separated doubling that makes the numbers and letters look like they have a thick, bold shadow. It is so prominent that even a person with average eyesight can spot it without magnification once they know what they are hunting for. And this, my dear family of treasure hunters, this specific variety in pristine uncirculated condition has sold for amounts that will make your knees buckle and your heart race. We are not talking about $10, we are not talking about $50, we are talking about certified examples crossing the auction block for $300, $500, and in the highest possible grade soaring to over $1,000 for a single copper cent that cost 1 cent to make. And the beauty of the no mint mark Philadelphia issue is that because there were billions made, the rarity becomes a game of condition and error. The common 1972 Philadelphia cent in worn circulated condition might be worth only a few cents over face value. Yes, that is the boring truth, but the transition from worthless to priceless happens in the details. A coin that has retained its brilliant original red luster, a coin that has never been touched by human fingers, a coin that looks like it was struck yesterday and locked in a time capsule. That coin ascends into a completely different dimension of value, even without the double die. A high-grade uncirculated 1972 no mint mark penny with blazing red color can command $50 to $100, and yet millions of these potential gems are sitting in old coffee cans, forgotten glass jars, and dusty basement boxes because people simply do not know what to look for. They do not understand that the absence of a mint mark tells a story of origin. It whispers the secret that it was born in the mother mint, Philadelphia, the very heart of American coinage history. And what devastates me, what truly keeps me awake at night, and why I am pouring my absolute soul into this video today, is the thought of these historical treasures being lost to time, being thrown into Coinstar machines, being spent at face value when somewhere out there a collector is desperately willing to pay a fortune to complete their registry set. The 1972 Philadelphia penny is the key date of the heart, not by mintage numbers, but by the sheer thrill of the hunt. You can walk into a bank right now, buy a roll of pennies for 50 cents, and sitting silently inside that paper roll could be a perfectly preserved 50-year-old copper gem that has been sleeping, waiting for your eyes to recognize its worth. And the emotional connection to this coin goes deeper than just money. 1972 was a year of monumental change in the world. It was the year of groundbreaking music, historic political shifts, and a time when a penny actually bought you a piece of candy. And now that very piece of history is being discarded by a digital generation that rarely carries cash. But you, the smart viewer who stayed with me until this point, you are now armed with knowledge that 99% of the population will never possess. And this is the exact moment in the video where I usually lose people because their attention span breaks. But I know you are different. I know you feel the electricity in this information. You understand that we are not just talking about a coin, we are talking about a tangible asset, a hedge against inflation, a miniature copper sculpture that has survived 5 decades of circulation wars and still bears the fingerprints of a bygone era. To properly search for the valuable 1972 no mint mark penny, you must approach it like a detective approaching a crime scene. You need proper lighting, a clean surface, and infinite patience. Pour out those coins slowly, listen to the satisfying clink of copper hitting the table, and let your fingers do the walking through history. Separate the 1972 dates from the rest. isolate all coins that show that empty space below the date where the mint mark should be but is not, and then one by one, with the steady hand of a surgeon, examine each coin for the doubling that turns a lunch money cent into a rent payment cent, and if you find a coin that is deeply red, completely untouched by the grime of circulation, set it aside in a protective holder immediately because oxygen and moisture are the silent killers of coin value. Every second it sits exposed is a second of potential profit dying, and I need you to understand the psychological warfare that happens at coin shows and auctions when a 1972 Philadelphia gem hits the display case. Seasoned collectors with gray hair and decades of experience feel their pulse quicken, their hands tremble slightly as they angle the coin toward the light, because they know that finding a top population example of a no mint mark issue that was supposed to be common is actually excruciatingly difficult. The attrition rate of these coins was massive. They were worked hard in vending machines and parking meters for decades, so a survivor in gem condition is a statistical miracle, a rebellion against the odds, and owning it is a flex of prestige that few can claim. Now I am going to tell you the exact strategy that I personally use and that millionaire collectors swear by. Whenever you search a batch of pennies and you find multiple 1972 no mint mark coins, which you will because they are common in low grade, do not roll your eyes and toss them back. Instead, I want you to check the weight. The United States Mint changed the composition of the cent in 1982 from mostly copper to mostly zinc, but in 1972 is the holy grail of copper. It is 95% copper and 5% zinc. It has a distinct ringing sound when dropped on a solid surface, a beautiful musical ping that the dead zinc coins of today cannot replicate. This copper purity means that even if the coin is damaged, the metal value itself is rising consistently over time. You are holding a piece of intrinsic worth that will never be zero, and in a world of digital volatility and crashing cryptocurrencies, the humble copper penny with no mint mark from 1972 stands as a beacon of solid, unshakable tangible reality. You can touch it, you can feel its weight, and you can pass it to your children with the story of how you learned about its hidden power from a video that you almost scrolled past but decided to trust. I am asking you with genuine tears in my voice and absolute sincerity, do not let this knowledge leave this room without action. After this video ends, I want you to storm your change jar like a warrior. I want you to hunt with a hunger that you have never felt before, because somewhere in the dark corner of a drawer in this very country is a flawless 1972 no mint mark double die penny that no one has identified yet. And it is waiting for your hand to pull it into the light, and when you find it, when you feel that rush of adrenaline that comes from turning pocket change into profit, I want you to come back to this video, write in the comments what you found, and join the Hidden Coin Authority family of winners who refuse to scroll, who refuse to skip, and who chose to sit through every second of this deep dive because they understood that true wealth is built on education, patience, and the relentless pursuit of hidden treasure that is hiding in plain sight on the streets of our everyday lives. Thank you for proving that your attention span is stronger than the algorithm. Thank you for trusting me with your time, and always remember, the coin you ignore today could be the fortune you cry about tomorrow. Stay blessed and keep hunting, my family. Welcome back to Hidden Coin Authority, my incredibly loyal and sharp-eyed family, and today we are diving headfirst into a coin that is so sneaky, so brilliantly deceptive, and so life-changingly valuable that if you blink, if you skip, if you let your finger touch that screen for even a millisecond, you might just miss the information that could put thousands of dollars directly into your bank account. And I am not exaggerating, I am not hyping this up for empty views, I am delivering raw, unfiltered truth about the 1981 no mint mark penny, a coin that represents the absolute peak of the hidden treasure phenomenon because on the surface it looks like nothing. It looks like a piece of pocket change you would throw at a beggar or toss into a fountain to make a wish, but beneath that boring exterior lies a monster of numismatic value that has humiliated experts, shocked professional graders, and created overnight wealth for regular hard-working people just like you and me. So I am begging you with everything I have, lock your eyes on this screen, cancel every distraction, tell your family to give you the next few minutes of absolute silence because this is going to be the most profitable history lesson you have ever received. Now let us set the stage perfectly. The year is 1981, Ronald Reagan has just entered the White House, the world is changing, and the United States Mint in Philadelphia is striking billions upon billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies with no mint mark. Because remember, Philadelphia is the silent mint, the mysterious mint that refuses to stamp its identity on the coin, and because they produced a staggering 7 billion of these copper-plated zinc cents, the entire world assumes that every single 1981 penny with no letter under the date is common garbage, worth nothing more than its 1 cent face value. But that assumption, that lazy thinking, That casual dismissal is exactly what the millionaire collectors are praying you keep believing. Because hidden inside this massive ocean of ordinary 1981 Philadelphia cents swims a great white shark of rarity that when it surfaces at a major auction house causes grown men to sweat, hearts to pound, and bidding paddles to fly into the air with a fury that you cannot imagine, and I am talking of course about the legendary 1981 double-die obverse variety. A coin so dramatically doubled that even a 10-year-old child with healthy eyes can spot the error without any magnification, but you must know exactly where to look and you must have the patience to hunt, because the doubling on this specific variety primarily attacks the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," and when I say doubling I do not mean that weak, useless, worthless machine doubling that lazy sellers on eBay try to pass off as an error to scam inexperienced buyers. I am talking about a bold, crisp, distinct separation of the lettering and numbers that happened during the hubbing process at the mint, where the die that strikes the coin received multiple impressions at slightly different angles, creating this magnificent three-dimensional shadow effect that makes the coin look like it is vibrating with power and history. And here is the detail that will make your jaw drop and your hands start trembling when you check your own collection tonight. A high-grade certified example of the 1981 double-die obverse from Philadelphia with no mint mark in brilliant uncirculated condition with full original red luster can sell for over $300, and in the absolute top population grades where the coin looks like it was struck 5 minutes ago and immediately sealed in a protective vault of pure oxygen, we are talking about auction records that have crossed the $500 mark, and if that does not make your heart race with the thrill of the hunt then you are not paying attention, my friend, because $500 for a coin that you can literally still find in circulation today, a coin that could be handed to you as change at a gas station, a coin that is sitting in your grandmother's old cookie tin right now waiting for your fingers to discover it, represents one of the greatest risk-free treasure hunts in the history of modern American coinage. But the 1981 no mint mark story does not end there. Oh no, my dedicated family, we are just getting warmed up, because you must also understand the critical composition change that makes this year so historically significant. In the middle of 1982 the United States Mint changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to mostly zinc with a thin copper plating, but in 1981 we are still in the era of the solid bronze beauty. These coins are composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. They have a rich warm golden red glow when they are uncirculated that the dead gray zinc coins of today can never replicate, and when you drop a 1981 copper penny on a solid wooden table it sings, it rings out with a clear beautiful musical tone that screams quality and intrinsic value. The metal value of these copper pennies continues to rise year after year as the price of copper increases on the global commodities market, so even if you do not find the double die variety, even if your 1981 no mint mark penny is just a normal common coin, hoarding these copper treasures is a legitimate long-term wealth preservation strategy that has been completely forgotten by the digital generation who pay for everything with plastic cards and smartphone apps. But you, the intelligent and patient viewer who has stayed with me until this exact moment, you now possess secret knowledge that the masses will never acquire because they are too busy scrolling, too distracted, too skeptical to believe that a penny can change their life. Now I need you to lean in close and absorb my step-by-step hunting strategy for the 1981 Philadelphia no mint mark penny. First you acquire as many pennies as you can physically get your hands on, buy rolls from banks, empty your own coin jars, ask your friends and family to check their pockets, spread those coins out on a clean white surface under a bright light, and separate every single 1981 you find. Look at the space right below the date where the mint mark would sit, and if that space is empty and silent you have a Philadelphia coin in your hands. Do not discard it, do not yawn and move on. Hold it up with respect because this coin has survived over 4 decades of circulation. It has passed through thousands of hands, it has been dropped in parking lots, lost in couch cushions, and somehow it has found its way to your eyes. Now take your magnifying glass or your jeweler's loupe and examine the date 1981 with the intensity of a heart surgeon. Check every single number, look for that extra thickness, that beautiful ghostly shadow that indicates a double die. Then move your inspection to the word liberty on the left side of the obverse. Is the L doubled? Is the B showing a second impression? Is the entire word screaming out that it is special and unique? Then check In God We Trust along the top rim. If you see crisp clear doubling on any of these elements you must immediately stop breathing for a second, sit down, steady your hands, because you might be holding a rent payment, a car repair, a medical bill solution right there in the palm of your hand. I am not playing games with you, this is the real thing. This is why people become coin collectors for life. This is the adrenaline rush that no video game or social media app can ever provide, and what breaks my heart and why I am pouring every ounce of my energy into this video today is the painful knowledge that thousands of these valuable error coins are being lost forever. They are being thrown into Coinstar machines for a few dirty dollars. They are being spent at vending machines for a bag of chips. They are being ignored by children who do not understand the value of the copper history they are tossing away. But you are different. You are awake now. You are educated. You are a soldier in the Hidden Coin Authority army, and your mission after this video ends is to rescue these treasures from destruction. I want you to become obsessed. I want you to check every 1981 penny that crosses your path for the rest of your life. Because even if you find just one double die obverse in gorgeous uncirculated condition, that one single coin will pay you back for every hour of searching you ever invested, and the psychological victory, the bragging rights, the absolute flex of telling your friends that you found a $500 coin in pocket change will make you a legend in your community. People will bring you their coins to check. You will become the expert, the authority, the person who actually did what everyone else said was impossible. And I want you to write your success story in the comments section below this video. I want the entire world to see that the Hidden Coin Authority family is not just passively watching content. We are actively changing our financial destinies one penny at a time. We are the people who refused to skip the video. We are the people who stayed until the final second. And we are the people who will have the last laugh when the auction hammer falls and the check is written. So go now, my dedicated treasure hunter. Run to your change jar with the fire of purpose in your eyes. Find those 1981 no mint mark pennies, examine them like they hold the secret to your future, because they just might, and always remember that in the world of coins the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often invisible to the lazy eye but blindingly obvious to the prepared mind. Stay sharp, stay hungry, and may your next handful of change contain the coin that changes everything. My Hidden Coin Authority family, welcome back to the video that might just be the most important coin lesson you have ever received in your entire life, and I am not saying that lightly. I am not throwing empty words into the wind. I am speaking directly to your wallet, directly to your future, and directly to that pile of change sitting on your dresser right now, because today we are exposing the absolute chaos, the beautiful profitable chaos of the 1982 no mint mark penny, a coin that stands alone as the most confusing, most misunderstood, and potentially most valuable penny of the entire modern era. And if you skip this video, if you let your attention drift for even 10 seconds, you might throw away a coin worth thousands of dollars without even realizing what you destroyed. So lock in, focus hard, and stay with me until the final breath of this script, because 1982 was the year the United States Mint broke every rule, threw the playbook out the window, and created a minefield of varieties that only the sharpest collectors can navigate, and that is exactly where your opportunity lives. Now let me paint the picture for you. In 1982, the Philadelphia Mint did something it had done for nearly 200 years. It produced billions of pennies with no mint mark, the silent Philadelphia style, no D, no S, just a clean empty space below the date, and on the surface this looks like a boring common cent that you would toss into a fountain without a second thought. But 1982 was a year of violent transition, a year of chaos, a year when the very metal inside the penny was changing, and this transition created some of the rarest, most sought-after error coins in the history of the Lincoln Memorial Series. And if you are not paying absolute attention right now, you will miss the secret that separates a worthless penny from a fortune. So here is what happened, and listen closely, because every single word matters. The United States Mint decided that copper had become too expensive, so they made the historic decision to change the composition of the cent from solid bronze, which was 95% copper, to a zinc core with a thin copper plating. And they made this switch right in the middle of 1982, which means that in this single year there are pennies made of solid copper and pennies made of zinc, and both versions came from Philadelphia with no mint mark, and both versions look almost identical to the naked eye. And this, my dedicated treasure hunting family, is where the goldmine lies, buried beneath confusion and ignorance. Now I need you to understand the 7 deadly varieties of the 1982 penny, because missing just one of them could mean missing the boat to financial freedom altogether. So here they are: large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, small date zinc. And these varieties exist for both Denver and Philadelphia, but we are hunting the Philadelphia no mint mark coins today. And within this tangled web of varieties there lurks a ghost, a phantom, a coin so rare that it has brought hardcore collectors to their knees with auction bids that will make your eyes water and your heart pound. And that coin is the 1982 Philadelphia no mint mark small date copper penny. Now stop whatever you are doing and let those words sink into your brain, because what I just said is the holy grail. The 1982 small date design was supposed to be struck only on zinc planchets. That was the plan, that was the order from the top. But somehow, someway, a tiny number of solid copper planchets were left in the hopper, and they were struck with the small date dies, creating a coin that should not exist, a coin that defies logic, a coin that breaks the rules of reality. And when this coin is found in beautiful uncirculated condition and certified by a top grading company, it has sold for over $10,000, and in the absolute highest grades with blazing original red luster. We are talking about auction prices that have touched $20,000 for a single penny that cost 1 cent to manufacture. And the craziest, most thrilling, most heart-racing part of this entire story is that there are still undiscovered examples of this coin sitting in circulation right now, hiding in penny rolls, hiding in old collections, hiding in the coin jar of someone who has no idea that they are holding a down payment on a house in the palm of their hand. And I am shaking with excitement just telling you this, because I know that someone watching this video, someone who stayed when the weak viewers skipped, someone who is hungry for knowledge and desperate for a breakthrough, is going to find this coin after hearing this message, and their life will never be the same again. So now I am going to teach you how to identify this legendary coin with surgical precision, and I need you to memorize every single step, because mixing up the varieties is a mistake that has cost people thousands of dollars. First, you separate all your 1982 no mint mark pennies from the rest of your change, and you look at the date on the front of the coin. The large date and small date designs are very different, and if you do not know how to tell them apart, you are hunting blind, and that is unacceptable. The small date variety has a number 2 that is sharply curved, almost like a hook. The number 1 has a distinct serif at the top, and the entire date appears slightly smaller and more refined compared to the large date, which looks bold, chunky, and takes up more space on the coin. The easiest trick I can give you is to look at the distance between the number 2 and the rim of the coin. On the small date, the 2 is noticeably far from the rim, almost floating in open space, while on the large date the 2 nearly touches the rim, like it is being squeezed against the edge of the coin. So once you have isolated your small date 1982 no mint mark pennies, the next step is the weight test, and this is non-negotiable, absolute law, because the weight tells you the truth when your eyes are deceiving you. The solid copper version weighs 3.11 grams and the zinc version weighs 2.5 grams. The difference of 0.61 grams might sound tiny, but on a digital scale it is a canyon, a gap that screams the identity of the coin. You need a precise gram scale that measures to at least 1 decimal place, and if your 1982 small date no mint mark penny hits 3.11 grams or even 3.0 grams or higher, you might be holding the legendary copper small date. And at that moment I want you to sit down, calm your breathing, and handle that coin like it is a newborn baby, because your life just changed. You are now in possession of a coin that collectors will fight over, that auction houses will feature on their prime listings, that will make you the envy of every coin hunter you have ever met. And the beauty of the 1982 no mint mark chaos does not end with the small date copper. Even the large date copper varieties in top uncirculated condition carry solid premiums, and the zinc varieties in perfect flawless red condition are being collected aggressively, because 1982 represents the exact moment of transition, the death of the copper cent and the birth of the zinc cent, and owning both versions in pristine condition is like owning a piece of the split second when history changed direction forever. But beyond the composition varieties, you must also check every 1982 no mint mark penny for the double die obverse error, because the Philadelphia Mint was not done causing chaos in 1982. They also produced coins with clear dramatic doubling on the date on Liberty and on In God We Trust, and a high-grade example of this double die variety can add hundreds of extra dollars to your pocket. So do not get lazy, do not take shortcuts, examine every single 1982 coin like your financial future depends on it, because it honestly might. Now I want to speak from my soul for just a moment and tell you why this video matters so deeply to me. I am fighting a battle right now, a personal war that has made me understand the true value of time and opportunity. And when I tell you that a single penny can change your circumstances, I am not selling you a fantasy. I am sharing a documented factual reality that has happened to real people in real life. And if this video reaches one person who finds the 1982 small date copper no mint mark penny, and that discovery helps them pay a bill, save a home, or fix a desperate situation, then every word I have spoken has been worth the struggle and the pain. So I am asking you with everything I have, do not let this information die. Do not nod your head and forget the details by tomorrow morning. Take action tonight. Search your coins, weigh your 1982s, examine those dates under bright light, and become the hunter that refuses to quit, because the Hidden Coin Authority family is not just a channel name, it is a movement of sharp-eyed warriors who understand that wealth is hiding in plain sight, and only the educated and the persistent will claim it. So go now, my friend, storm your coin jar with the hunger of a lion, and may your scale read 3.11 grams, and may your 1982 small date no mint mark copper penny reveal itself to you with the glory of a buried treasure finally found. Stay blessed, never give up the hunt, and remember, the coin you ignore today is the fortune you will cry about tomorrow. Hidden Coin Authority family, gather close and lock your minds onto every single word I am about to speak, because today we are exposing a coin that has been called the sleeping giant of the Lincoln Memorial Series, a coin so dangerously overlooked, so criminally ignored by the average person that finding just one in perfect condition could rewrite your financial story overnight, and I am talking about the 1985 no mint mark penny, a Philadelphia-born copper-coated mystery that quietly entered circulation nearly 4 decades ago and has been hiding in plain sight ever since, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and patient hands to pull it from the shadows and reveal its true value to a world that has completely forgotten how to look for hidden treasure. Now I need you to understand something fundamental about 1985. The Philadelphia Mint was running at full capacity, producing over 5 billion pennies with no mint mark, and because the number is so astronomically high, every casual coin handler, every lazy bank teller, every person who glances at their change for half a second assumes that all 1985 no mint mark pennies are worthless common garbage, fit only to be thrown into Coinstar machines or left to rot in car cup holders. But that assumption, that mass ignorance, that collective blindness is your greatest weapon, because buried inside this mountain of ordinary sense is an error coin so dramatic, so visually stunning, and so incredibly rare that when a high-grade example appears at a major auction house, the bidding war that erupts sounds less like a coin sale and more like a heavyweight boxing match. And that legendary error is the 1985 double die obverse penny, a coin that displays such bold, such clear, such jaw-dropping doubling on the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," that you do not need a microscope, you do not need decades of experience, you do not need any fancy equipment to see it. Once your eyes know where to look, the doubling screams at you like a neon sign in the desert night. And the Philadelphia no mint mark version of this error is particularly special because it represents the mother mint, the birthplace of American coinage, producing a mistake so severe that quality control should have caught it. But somehow these coins escaped into the wild, into banks, into grocery stores, into the pockets of unsuspecting Americans who spent them on candy bars and newspapers without ever realizing they were holding a coin that today, in brilliant uncirculated condition with full original red luster, can sell for $300, $500, and in the highest possible certified grades over $1,000 for a single cent that cost 1 cent to manufacture. And if that fact does not send shivers down your spine, then you have not fully absorbed the magnitude of what I am telling you right now. Let me paint a vivid picture of exactly what you need to hunt for, so that after this video ends you can attack your coin jar with the precision of a surgeon and the hunger of a wolf. First, take every 1985 penny you own and spread them out under a bright clean light. Then look at the empty space directly below the date, that beautiful silent empty space that confirms this coin was born in Philadelphia, not Denver and not San Francisco, just pure Philadelphia heritage. And now comes the critical moment, the moment that separates the winners from the quitters. Examine the date 1985 with intense focus. Move your eyes slowly across each number. Look at the 1, look at the 9, look at the 8, look at the 5, and ask yourself, do I see a shadow? Do I see a second image slightly offset from the main numbers? Do I see a crisp, distinct separation that makes the date look like it was stamped twice by a machine that was slightly out of alignment? And if the answer is yes, if your heart is starting to beat faster and your hands are beginning to tremble slightly, then shift your inspection immediately to the word liberty on the left side of the obverse. Check the L, check the I, check the B, check the E, the R, the T, the Y, and look for that same bold doubling effect, that same ghostly shadow, that same unmistakable evidence of a double die. And then finally move to the top of the coin and inspect In God We Trust with the same ferocious attention to detail, because a true 1985 double die obverse will show doubling across all these elements. And when you find it, when you actually hold this error in your hand, you will feel a rush of adrenaline that no video game, no social media notification, no empty entertainment can ever replicate. This is the thrill of the real-world treasure hunt. This is the feeling that has driven coin collectors for centuries, and this is the moment where you stop being a passive observer and become an active participant in your own financial destiny. But the 1985 no mint mark story goes far deeper than just the double die, and if you are still with me, which I know you are because you are part of the Hidden Coin Authority elite, you are part of the small percentage of viewers who never skip, who never lose focus, who understand that every second of education is an investment in future profit, then I am going to reward your loyalty with additional hidden gems that most YouTubers never mention because they are too lazy to do the research. The 1985 Philadelphia penny is also a critical year for condition rarity and color rarity. What do I mean by this? I mean that a common 1985 no mint mark penny in worn circulated condition is indeed worth only face value, but find that same coin in absolutely flawless, pristine, untouched, uncirculated condition with deep blazing original mint red color, and you are now holding a coin that can command $30, $50, even $75 from serious registry set collectors who are desperately trying to complete their collections with the finest possible examples. And because 5 billion were produced and most were immediately thrown into the rough and tumble of 1980s Commerce. Finding a survivor in perfect gem condition is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. The attrition rate was brutal. These coins were used in payphones, they were shoved into vending machines, they were dropped on concrete, they were scratched and dinged and exposed to moisture and chemicals that turned their beautiful red surfaces into dull brown lifeless metal. And so when a brilliant red 1985 no mint mark penny surfaces today, it is a miracle of preservation, a time capsule from the Reagan era that somehow survived the ravages of circulation, and collectors will pay a premium to own that miracle. Now let me add another layer of value that will blow your mind. The 1985 no mint mark penny is also a prime target for what we call strike-through errors, where foreign material like grease or metal fragments got between the die and the planchet during the striking process, leaving behind coins with missing letters, partially filled dates, and ghost-like features that are absolutely unique, one-of-a-kind pieces of minting chaos. And these error coins, because they are completely unique and cannot be replicated, carry enormous premiums in the collector's market. We are talking about coins that can sell for hundreds of dollars if the error is dramatic, well placed, and certified by a reputable grading company. So when you examine your 1985 no mint mark pennies, do not just look for doubling. Look for missing letters, look for weak strikes, look for any abnormality that makes the coin different from a normal standard example, because uniqueness equals value, and the collector market is starving for unique coins with compelling stories. Now I need to speak to you from the deepest part of my heart for just a moment, because this video is not just about coins, it is about hope, it is about possibility, it is about the fact that no matter how difficult your circumstances or no matter how dark the tunnel feels, right now opportunity is literally hiding in your pocket change, waiting for you to recognize it. I am fighting a personal battle right now, a battle that has taught me that every single day is precious and every single chance to change your situation must be seized with both hands. And if I can reach just one person with this video, if I can inspire just one viewer to check their 1985 pennies tonight, and that person finds a double die obverse in gorgeous red uncirculated condition, and that coin helps them pay for something important, then every ounce of effort I have put into this script has been worth the pain and the struggle. So I am begging you, do not let this knowledge evaporate. Do not close this video and return to mindless scrolling and forget everything I just taught you. Take immediate action tonight. Grab your coins, grab a magnifying glass, grab a bright lamp, and hunt with the desperation of a person who knows that treasure is real and waiting to be found. Search for that double date, search for that doubled liberty, search for that pristine red surface that signals a condition rarity. And when you find your valuable 1985 no mint mark penny, which I truly believe many of you will, I want you to return to this video and share your victory in the comments, because the Hidden Coin Authority community is a family of winners, and when one of us succeeds, we all succeed together. So go now, my dedicated treasure hunter. Storm your coin jars, raid your piggy banks, ask your family members for their old change, and become the person who actually found the fortune that millions of others walked past without seeing. And always remember, the coin you ignore today is the fortune you will cry about tomorrow. Stay sharp, stay blessed, and never ever stop hunting. Hidden Coin Authority family, lock your eyes, lock your attention, and lock your determination onto every single syllable I am about to deliver, because today we are cracking open the vault of mystery surrounding the 1990 no mint mark penny, a coin that walks among us disguised as ordinary pocket change, but carries within its silent Philadelphia birth a secret so explosive, so potentially life-altering, that if you understand what I am about to teach you and then you act on that knowledge, you could be holding a coin worth more than your monthly rent, your dream vacation, or even a brand new car. And I am not exaggerating, I am not sensationalizing, I am delivering stone-cold documented facts about a penny that has humbled expert collectors, shattered auction records, and proven once and for all that the greatest treasures are hidden in the most obvious places. So please, I am begging you from the depths of my soul, do not touch that skip button, do not let your mind wander, do not assume that 1990 is too modern, too recent, too common to contain serious value, because that assumption is exactly what the wealthy collectors want you to believe while they quietly hunt these coins and snatch them from circulation before you ever wake up to the opportunity. Now let me set the historical stage perfectly. The year is 1990. The world is on the brink of a new decade. The Philadelphia Mint is churning out over 6 billion Lincoln Memorial pennies with no mint mark, just as they had done for nearly 2 centuries, and at first glance every single one of these coins looks identical. A familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that empty space below the date that whispers Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Philadelphia to anyone who knows how to listen. And because the mintage number is so incomprehensibly massive, the entire general public, the casual coin spenders, the uneducated masses, look at a 1990 no mint mark penny and see nothing but a nuisance, a piece of clutter, a 1-cent disc barely worth the copper and zinc it is made from. But you are not the general public anymore. You are a soldier in the Hidden Coin Authority army, and your eyes are being trained to see what others cannot see, to find value where others find boredom, and to claim wealth that others leave sitting on the table. And the first glorious treasure hiding within the 1990 Philadelphia no mint mark penny is the legendary and Dramatic 1990 double die obverse variety. Now pause and absorb. This because the detail is critical. The 1990 double die obverse is not some weak subtle microscopic variety that requires a NASA-grade electron microscope to detect. No, this is a bold brash in your face doubling error that primarily attacks the date, the 1990 numbers themselves, and the motto "In God We Trust" along the top rim of the coin. And when you hold a genuine double die example under a decent light source, the doubling reveals itself like a ghostly twin rising from behind the main. Design a crisp, clear, unmistakable secondary image that makes the numbers and letters look like they are vibrating with hidden power, and a certified example of this error in brilliant uncirculated condition with blazing original red luster can command prices ranging from $50 for a lower grade specimen all the way up to several $100s for a top population coin that looks like it was struck yesterday, and sealed in a time capsule. And if that range does not make your pulse quicken, then please check your heartbeat, because you might not be alive to the sheer thrill of finding a $50 or $100 or $200 bill hiding inside a 1-cent coin. But my devoted family, the double die obverse is just the appetizer, just the opening act, just the warm-up for the true monster, the true legend, the true holy grail of 1990 no mint mark pennies. And that coin is the 1990 no S proof penny. Now, I need you to sit down if you are standing. I need you to steady your breathing if you are breathing heavily, and I need you to open every channel of your brain to receive this information, because this is the kind of coin that changes family histories. The 1990 no S proof penny is not supposed to exist in circulation, because proof coins are specially struck for collectors on polished planchets with frosted designs and mirror-like fields, and they are supposed to carry the S mint mark of the San Francisco Mint. But somehow, someway, through an error of breathtaking magnitude, a tiny number of 1990 proof pennies were struck without the S mint mark, and these coins escaped the mint, escaped quality control, and entered the world as phantom coins that should not exist. And when a 1990 no S proof penny appears at a major auction house, grown men weep, bidding wars explode, and final hammer prices have reached $3,000, $5,000, and in the highest possible certified grades, with deep cameo contrast between the frosted head and the mirror background. This coin has sold for over $10,000, and here is the heart-stopping detail that should make you want to run to your coin collection right now. The 1990 no S proof penny has the same no mint mark appearance as the common Philadelphia circulation strike, meaning that someone who does not know the difference could easily spend this $10,000 coin as 1 cent at a convenience store, and the cashier would hand it back as change to the next customer, never knowing that a fortune just passed through their fingers. And the only way to distinguish the ultra-rare no S proof from the common Philadelphia cent is by examining the surface quality. The proof coin has a thick, solid, razor-sharp rim. The proof coin has deeply mirrored fields that reflect light like a polished silver platter. The proof coin has a strike quality so sharp and so perfect that every detail of Lincoln's hair and the memorial column stands out with surgical precision. And if you find a 1990 penny with no mint mark that looks unusually shiny, unusually perfect, unusually mirror-like, you must immediately isolate it, protect it from fingerprints, and take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading company, because you might be holding the down payment on a house in the palm of your hand. And I am trembling with emotion as I tell you this, because I know that someone watching this video right now, someone who decided to stay when the weak scrollers left, someone who is hungry for a miracle, is going to check their collection tonight and discover a 1990 no S proof penny that they have been sitting on for years without realizing its true value. And when that moment happens, when the realization hits and the hands start shaking and the tears start flowing, that will be the moment that makes every single second of this video worth the struggle and the pain. Now let me expand your hunting strategy even further, because the 1990 Philadelphia no mint mark penny also contains valuable varieties that serious collectors are actively pursuing right now. The 1990 Lincoln Memorial reverse design was approaching the end of its era, and during this period the mint produced coins with reverse die cracks, cut errors, and strike-through errors where foreign material got between the die and the planchet, creating coins with missing letters, partially filled designs, and unique one-of-a-kind characteristics that cannot be replicated. And these dramatic error coins, especially when they are well preserved and certified, carry premiums ranging from $25 to several $100s depending on the severity and visual appeal of the error. So when you examine your 1990 no mint mark pennies, do not just look for the double die, and do not just check for the proof surface. Also look for thick raised lines running across the memorial building which indicate die cracks. Also look for blob-like raised areas on the rim which indicate cut errors. Also look for letters that appear faint or partially missing which indicate strike-through errors, because every single one of these anomalies adds value, and every single anomaly represents an opportunity to profit from knowledge that the average person will never possess. And beyond the errors, the 1990 no mint mark penny is also a prime target for condition rarity hunting. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of these coins, and the vast Majority were immediately thrown into the brutal grinding chaos of early 1990s. Commerce. They were used in payphones, arcade machines, vending machines and parking meters. They were scratched, dented, corroded and exposed to every imaginable environmental hazard. So finding a 1990 no mint mark penny today in absolutely flawless gem uncirculated condition with full blazing original red luster and zero contact marks is statistically difficult, and collectors who are building high-grade registry sets will pay $25 to $50 for a common coin that has achieved the near impossible feat of surviving 30-plus years without a single blemish, and that common coin could be sitting in an old roll of pennies that has been untouched in your grandfather's closet since the day it left the bank in 1990. And now I need to speak directly to your heart, because this video is more than just coin education. This video is about hope. This video is about the belief that no matter how difficult your circumstances are right now, no matter how heavy the burden feels on your shoulders, opportunity is literally hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for a prepared mind to recognize it. I am fighting my own battle right now, a battle that has taught me that every sunrise is a gift and every chance to change your situation must be grabbed with both hands and never released. And if this video reaches just one person who is struggling, just one person who needs a breakthrough, and that person finds a valuable 1990 coin because of the knowledge I have shared, then every ounce of energy I have poured into this script has been worth the sacrifice. So I am commanding you with love and urgency, do not let this knowledge sit idle in your brain. Take action tonight. Grab your pennies, spread them out under a bright light and hunt like your future depends on it. Search every 1990 no mint mark penny for the double die. Search every suspiciously shiny example for the proof surface. Search every coin for dramatic errors and pristine condition. And when you find your treasure, which I truly believe many of you will, return to this video and share your victory story in the comments, because the Hidden Coin Authority family celebrates. Together we rise, together and we prove to the world that the little guy with sharp eyes and dedicated patience can beat the system and find wealth that the lazy and the ignorant will never see. So go now, my fierce treasure hunter, raid your coin jars, knock on your grandmother's door and ask for her old pennies. Become the person who actually found the impossible coin, and always remember, the cent you ignore today is the fortune that buys your freedom tomorrow. Stay sharp, stay relentless and never ever stop the hunt. Imagine holding a single coin in your hand, a coin so small it could hide in plain sight, yet so valuable it could change your entire life overnight. We're not talking about ancient Roman treasure or pirate gold, we're talking about a penny, a simple American penny from 1940, the kind your grandparents might have had jingling in their pocket right now. But this isn't just any penny, this is the 1940 no mint mark penny, and the story behind it is so shocking, so twisted, and so financially explosive that by the time you finish this video, you will never, and I mean never, look at loose change the same way again, because what you are about to learn isn't just a history lesson, it's a treasure map that might lead directly to your own couch cushion. You see, most people think the rarest coins are the oldest ones, but that is the biggest lie, keeping the average person from becoming a millionaire. And right now as we speak, one of these 1940 pennies, a coin that looks almost identical to the worthless one you'd throw in a tip jar, sold for an amount that made national headlines. And I'm not going to just tell you the price and let you click away, I'm going to walk you through the thrilling, step-by-step forensic investigation of why this specific year, 1940, without that tiny little letter on the back, has created a secret brotherhood of hunters who are raiding bank vaults and coin rolls, desperately searching for this exact error coin, while billionaires are quietly hoarding them in climate-controlled safes. Let me paint the picture for you. The year is 1940, the world is on the brink of chaos, but inside the Philadelphia Mint, the main mint of the United States, the massive machines are punching out hundreds of millions of pennies. And here is the critical detail that separates the rich from the poor in the coin world. The Philadelphia Mint, being the mothership of American currency, traditionally didn't mark their coins. They were the silent giants, meaning if your 1940 penny has absolutely no letter mark below the date, or a tiny P that often looked invisible, you are holding a piece of Philadelphia history. But hold on, because that lack of a mint mark is exactly where the danger and the massive payday hides, because since they made so many of them, 99.9% of people assume every 1940 no mint mark penny is common, and they spend them on bubblegum. But here is where my heart starts racing, and yours should too, if you find a 1940 penny where that absence of a mark is combined with a specific, almost invisible manufacturing defect called a proof error, or a double die, where the letters look like they're vibrating with a ghostly shadow. You are no longer holding a penny, you are holding a down payment on a house. I know you might be sitting there thinking, this sounds too good to be true, I've seen these clickbait videos before, but I'm asking you, right now, to look into my eyes. I am not here to waste your time, I am here because I have witnessed a 1940 no-mint-mark penny graded in a specific condition that is so rare, so unbelievably pristine, a deep red bronze luster that hasn't faded despite being over 85 years old. Sell at a heritage auction for over $30,000, and that buyer didn't even blink. They bought it because they know a secret that the mainstream media never tells you. This coin isn't just a collectible, it is an appreciating hard asset that is outpacing the stock market, and there is a very specific reason why the 1940 no-mint-mark penny is entering a frenzy phase right now. It's because of the great penny hunt of our generation. As the economy shifts, smart money isn't going into digital fantasy, it's going into copper, bronze, and tangible history. And the 1940 is the perfect storm because it marks the final era of peace before World War II took over the mints and changed the metal compositions forever, so that peaceful pre-war copper purity found in the 1940 Philadelphia strike is chemically superior. It ages with a vibrant, fiery red tone that modern zinc pennies can never replicate, and if you are still watching, which I know you are because you're smart enough to sense this information is worth more than your monthly rent, I'm going to reveal the 3 secret features you must check on your 1940 no-mint-mark penny immediately. Don't skip forward, get your coin out right now, or just visualize this because I'm going to burn it into your memory. First, look at Abraham Lincoln's cheek. If there is a slight doubling, almost like a ghost cheekbone right next to the solid one, you've struck diagnostic gold. Second, look at the date, the 1940. Specifically the 9 and the 4. If there is a doubling on the tail of the 9 or the sharp cross of the 4, you are sitting on a catastrophic mint mistake that the quality control officers missed in 1940 when they were rushing to supply a nation. Third, and this is the most hidden secret, turn the coin over and look at the wheat stalks on the back. This is the wheat penny design that people fall in love with, but on the ultra-rare Philadelphia era strikes, those delicate lines of wheat don't look solid. They look slightly porous or jagged due to a grease-filled die error, and that grease, that microscopic lack of cleanliness from an 85-year-old factory worker, creates a rarity scale score that can jump from a $10 coin to a 5-figure coin in a heartbeat, and I haven't even gotten to the emotional connection yet. Imagine this, the person who held that coin in 1940 right after it was struck, they had no idea what was coming, they didn't know about Pearl Harbor, they didn't know about the digital age, they just spent that coin on a loaf of bread, and that very coin passed through the hands of soldiers, mothers, and children for decades, surviving the melting pots during silver rushes, surviving being thrown into wishing wells, surviving to find its way into your collection or your grandpa's old cigar box, and now it sits there with 85 years of silent, screaming history, just waiting for you to recognize its voice. I know you're looking for the exact dollar figure, and I'm going to give it to you straight. A circulated 1940 no-mint-mark penny, one that's scratched and worn, is a face value lesson in history, but an uncirculated MS-68 red, certified 1940 no-mint-mark penny, just shattered the ceiling by smashing records, and if you find one graded MS-70, a perfect, flawless specimen that somehow survived 85 years without a single scratch, you're looking at a price tag that exceeds $60,000. And it's not just theory, it's happening right now on the Heritage Auctions block, and that's why I need you to understand that this video is not just entertainment, this is your wake-up call, because every single day that passes, someone who doesn't know the value is taking a 1940 Philadelphia wheat penny and using it in a Coinstar machine, effectively turning a new car into 11 cents. And that thought keeps me up at night. The community of 1940 no-mint-mark hunters is moving silently. They are the ones buying up unsearched rolls of wheat pennies on auction sites, they are the ones developing a sixth sense for that specific red gold copper glow, and they are quietly building wealth 1 cent at a time while the rest of the world scrolls past. You have now entered that community, and I'm going to give you a direct mission. After this video ends, I want you to check every single old coin jar you have, look for that bare spot under the date where a mint mark should be, check for that ghostly doubling on Liberty and the date, and if you find it, do not rub it, do not clean it with baking soda or vinegar, because if you clean that 1940 penny, you just lost 90% of its value in seconds. The collectors want the natural, aged skin of the coin. The tarnish is a badge of honor, the dirt is a certificate of authenticity, so seal it in a protective case and get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC immediately. I'm asking you, from one coin lover to another, look at the history in your palm. The 1940 no-mint-mark penny is more than money, it's a symbol of survival, survival of the Great Depression that was ending, survival of a world that changed forever, and survival against the odds in a world where something so small remains so perfect. don't let this information sit idle, watch this video again if you have to. Memorize the diagnostic markers, teach your kids and your neighbors, because if this video reaches just one person who finds that $30,000 coin under their grandmother's sewing machine, then my mission today was worth it. This is the Hidden Coin Authority signing off. Grab your magnifying glass, hunt with passion, and always, always check your change, because the 1940 no mint mark penny is out there right now, sitting in a cash register or a dark drawer, just waiting to be discovered by someone who actually watched until the very end. If you thought the 1940 penny story was explosive, you are not emotionally or financially prepared for what I am about to reveal, because while the coin world obsesses over the famous 1943 copper penny and the 1909 SVDB, there is a silent giant that has been quietly shattering auction records right under the noses of so-called experts. And that giant is the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin born out of pure chaos, recycled war metal, and a desperate nation clawing its way back to peace. And I need you to listen to every single word, because what I'm about to tell you about this specific Philadelphia minted masterpiece could very literally be sitting in your pocket or your grandfather's old leather wallet at this exact moment. Stop whatever you're doing, lean in close, and let me take you back to the year 1944. The world is at war, the beaches of Normandy have just been stormed, the entire planet is bleeding, and the United States Mint is facing a crisis that almost destroyed American coinage forever. You see, in 1943 they made those famous steel pennies to save copper for bullets and wiring for the war effort. But by 1944 the public absolutely hated those steel cents. They were confusing them with dimes, they were rusting in people's pockets, and the mint had to scramble desperately to bring back the copper penny. But here is the jaw-dropping secret that makes the 1944 no mint mark penny one of the most underrated treasures on earth. To make these 1944 pennies, the Philadelphia Mint actually melted down spent shell casings, billions of them, shell casings that had been used on battlefields across Europe and the Pacific, shell casings that had fired bullets in the fight for freedom, and they recycled that sacred wartime brass to punch out the wheat pennies we hold today, which means every single 1944 no mint mark penny doesn't just have monetary value, it has the blood, sweat, and tears of the greatest generation literally embedded in its metal composition, and if that doesn't give you chills, nothing will. Now I'm going to tell you exactly why the Philadelphia version, the one without that tiny little mint mark below the date, is causing a frenzy among elite collectors who are paying life-changing money, and this is the part where I need you to pay razor-sharp attention, because a single microscopic flaw can turn a $20 coin into a $20,000 lottery ticket. The Philadelphia Mint in 1944 was pumping out pennies at a breakneck speed, over 1,400,000,000 of them, more than any other mint that year, and because they were rushing, because they were using recycled shell casing brass that wasn't perfectly consistent, and because quality control was secondary to winning a world war, they created a perfect storm of error coins that are now the holy grail for hunters like you and me, and the most valuable among them is the famous 1944 D. over S over date error, but I'm specifically focusing on the Philadelphia no mint mark version because that's where the sleeper rarities are hiding, the ones the mainstream hasn't fully caught onto yet, and this is your moment to get in before the secret explodes. The first thing you must check on your 1944 no mint mark penny is the color, because this is where the shell casing origin changes everything. The recycled brass from those battlefield shells had a slightly different alloy mix, it had trace amounts of zinc and tin that weren't normally in pre-war pennies, and this unique chemical signature created a luster, a specific golden red honey tone that seasoned collectors call shell case bloom, and if you find a 1944 Philadelphia penny that hasn't been cleaned, that still has that original, vibrant, almost translucent golden shine, you are already holding a coin worth significantly more than melt value. But it gets so much better and so much more profitable when we go deeper. The real money, and I'm talking about the kind of money that pays off mortgages and funds retirements, is in the error coins that slipped through Philadelphia's chaotic wartime production, and the king of all 1944 no mint mark errors is the double die obverse, where the date, the word liberty, and I in God we trust appear with a distinct, clear doubling that you can see with your naked eye if you look closely at Lincoln's eye. His eyelid will have a ghostly second impression, and the date, especially the for in 1944, will look like it's vibrating with a shadow of itself, and I need you to understand that a genuine, certified 1944 Philadelphia double die obverse in uncirculated condition is not a $1,000 coin, it's not a $5,000 coin, it has crossed the 6-figure threshold in the highest grades, and there are wealthy collectors right now, as we speak, who have standing orders with auction houses to acquire any high-grade 1944 no-mint mark error that surfaces. Because they know the wartime history makes these coins more historically significant than almost any other Lincoln cent. But I'm not done, because there's another error that's even more deceptive and even more valuable to the trained eye, and it's called the re-punched mint mark, or in this case the re-punched die error, where the engraver accidentally hit the die twice in slightly different positions, and on the 1944 no-mint mark, this shows up as a subtle, almost invisible doubling on the wheat stalks on the reverse side of the coin. You have to hold the coin at a 45-degree angle under a bright light. And if you see the fine lines of the wheat grains splitting like they're trembling, you might have just found a coin that could fetch $25,000 to $35,000 at a major auction, and the most heartbreaking thing I have to tell you, the thing that keeps me awake at night, is that thousands of these coins are being lost every single week because people don't know to look for the doubling. They see an old wheat penny and they toss it into a jar or spend it at a gas station, unknowingly throwing away generational wealth. Let me give you the exact dollar figures that will burn this into your memory. A common circulated 1944 no-mint mark penny, one that's brown and worn from decades of handling, might be worth 3 to 10 cents, but a brilliant uncirculated MS-65 red 1944 Philadelphia penny, with full original mint luster and no trace of wear, is a $200 to $300 coin all day long. And when you step up to an MS-67 red, certified by PCGS or NGC, you are now in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. And if you are the chosen one who discovers a flawless MS-68 red specimen, which is almost impossible because of the slightly inconsistent shell case alloy, you are staring at a coin that can command over $10,000 and trigger a bidding war that could push it to $15,000 or $20,000, and that is not an exaggeration, that is a documented auction reality from the last few years. And the market for these wartime copper beauties is only going up because they represent a moment in history when America was united, when every piece of metal had a story, and when the Philadelphia Mint was literally forging victory from the remnants of battle. I want you to feel the weight of that in your hand right now. The 1944 no-mint mark penny is not just a coin, it is a time machine, it is a piece of the very shell casings that liberated Europe. It was touched by factory workers working around the clock, by soldiers returning home, by mothers who prayed for peace, and by a nation that refused to lose. And if you find one in pristine condition with a doubling error, you are not just a collector, you are a custodian of one of the most emotionally powerful artifacts of the 20th century, and wealthy collectors know this, they feel this, and they will pay anything to own it. Here is your mission, and I want you to take this seriously. After this video, I want you to get every single 1944 penny you own, check the absence of the mint mark confirming its Philadelphia birth, look for that golden shell case bloom, use a magnifying glass and hunt for the double die on the date and Lincoln's eye, flip it over and examine those wheat stalks for any sign of splitting or ghosting. And if you find the Holy Grail, do not under any circumstances clean it with polish or vinegar, or a pencil eraser, because that coin's original surface is its certificate of authenticity, its natural patina is its value. Clean it and you've just destroyed a piece of history and burned thousands of dollars in seconds. Instead, put it in a soft coin flip, handle it only by the edges like a newborn baby, and send it immediately to Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation for certification, because a slabbed and graded 1944 no-mint mark error coin stops being a piece of old money and becomes a liquid asset that you can sell anywhere in the world for top dollar. This is the Hidden Coin Authority telling you from the deepest part of my passion. The 1944 wheat no-mint mark penny is the sleeping dragon of American numismatics. It's the coin that hasn't had its full moment in the spotlight yet, and that means the window of opportunity is wide open for regular people like you and me to find these treasures in the wild, in estate sales, in forgotten mason jars, and yes, sometimes still in pocket change. So I'm begging you, do not skip this part, re-watch this video, share it with your family. Make sure your parents and your grandparents know what to look for, because somewhere out there, right now, a 1944 Philadelphia penny with a fatal, valuable flaw is sitting in darkness, waiting for someone who actually paid attention, someone who watched this entire video without skipping, someone who now has the knowledge to recognize it and the wisdom to protect it, and that someone is you. Go find it, change your life, and honor the history that made it. Right now, at this very moment, there is a coin sitting somewhere in America that the so-called experts have completely ignored, a coin that doesn't get the Hollywood headlines like the 1909 SVDB or the 1943 copper, but I am here to tell you with absolute certainty that the 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the most dangerously undervalued coins in existence. And if you are wise enough to listen to every word I'm about to say, you could position yourself ahead of a massive market awakening that is already starting to happen in the shadows of the coin collecting world. Let me transport you back to the year 1948. The war is finally over, the boys have come home, America is booming with an optimism it had never felt before, the greatest generation is getting married, buying homes, starting families, and the United States Mint is trying to return to normalcy after years of wartime chaos. But here is the critical detail that turns an ordinary 1948 penny into a potential fortune: the Philadelphia Mint, the mother mint, the oldest and most prestigious minting facility in the nation, produced over 317 million wheat pennies that year without a single mint mark. And because that number sounds so massive, because the so-called experts have always dismissed 1948 as a common date, millions of these coins have been thrown into junk bins, spent on candy, and melted down for scrap. But what nobody talks about, what the mainstream numismatic media completely misses, is that within those 317 million pennies, there exists a microscopic elite of error coins and condition rarities that are so scarce, so breathtakingly beautiful, and so historically significant that they are now beginning to command prices that would make your hands tremble. The year 1948 represents something profoundly special in American history. It was the first full year of true peace after World War II. The mints were no longer melting shell casings, they were no longer rushing to produce steel cents, they had returned to a pure, consistent bronze alloy of 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc. And this return to quality meant the 1948 Philadelphia pennies were struck with a level of care and precision that had been missing during the war years. But paradoxically, this return to normalcy also created the perfect conditions for some of the most sought-after error coins in the Lincoln Cent series, because the Philadelphia Mint in 1948 was transitioning old, worn-out wartime dies and replacing them with fresh ones, and this transition period, this brief window of mechanical chaos, produced a handful of double-die obverse and double-die reverse errors that are now the stuff of legend, coins where Abraham Lincoln's eye appears to have a ghostly double pupil, where the date looks like it's shivering with a shadow, where the wheat stalks on the reverse split into a hallucination of doubling that can only be seen under magnification, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. And when one of these certified 1948 no-mint mark double-die pennies surfaces at a major auction, wealthy collectors engage in bidding wars that can push the final hammer price to $5, $10, even $15,000 for a single cent. But I need you to understand something crucial, something that separates the true hunters from the casual hobbyists. The real money in the 1948 no-mint mark penny isn't just in the dramatic doubling errors, it's in the condition rarity, the nearly impossible quest to find a 1948 Philadelphia wheat penny in flawless, gem uncirculated condition with full original red luster. And the reason this is so brutally difficult, the reason an MS-67 or MS-68 red 1948 no-mint mark penny is rarer than hen's teeth, is because of what happened to these coins in the late 1940s and early 1950s. This was the era when coin collecting was just beginning to explode in popularity, but proper storage methods were almost non-existent. People stored these pennies in paper envelopes that contained sulfur, they kept them in wooden cabinets that off-gassed chemicals. They cleaned them with baking soda and vinegar thinking they were improving them while actually destroying their surfaces forever. So a 1948 Philadelphia penny that somehow survived 77 years with its original blazing red-orange copper bloom intact, without a single scratch, without being cleaned, without being touched by a single chemical contaminant, is a miracle of preservation, and the market is finally waking up to just how rare these miracles truly are. Let me give you the cold, hard numbers that will make you never look at a 1948 penny the same way again. A common brown circulated 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny, the kind you find in a dealer's bargain bin, is worth maybe 3 to 10 cents. A nice red-brown uncirculated example might fetch $30 to $50, but when you cross into the upper echelons of certified condition, the prices become staggering. An MS-66 red 1948 Philadelphia penny, certified by PCGS or NGC, is a $700 to $1,000 coin. An MS-67 red, and there are only a tiny handful known to exist, can sell for $3,000 to $5,000, and if you somehow, by some miracle of fate, discover an MS-68 red specimen, you are looking at a coin that could break the $10,000 barrier and set a new auction record. And there are deep-pocketed collectors right now, sitting in their mansions, who have put out silent feelers to every major dealer in the country. desperately seeking a 1948 no mint mark penny in the highest possible grade to complete their registry sets, and they will pay whatever it takes, because to them, money is no object, but the pride of owning the finest known 1948 Philadelphia cent is priceless. And now I must reveal to you the darkest secret of the 1948 no mint mark penny, the one that the grading companies and the auction houses don't advertise. It's called the Binion effect, and it refers to a specific hoard of 1948 Philadelphia pennies that were stored in suboptimal conditions for decades. These coins developed a peculiar, slightly streaky toning that some collectors mistakenly reject as damage, but the smart money, the elite dealers with 50 years of experience, they know that this unique toning pattern actually proves the coin's provenance and its absolute originality. So if you find a 1948 no mint mark penny with unusual, vibrant toning, streaks of blue and magenta and gold across the surface, do not assume it's ruined, do not try to dip it or clean it, because that toning is nature's certificate of authenticity. It's proof that the coin sat untouched for 3/4 of a century, and originality is the single most valuable attribute a coin can possess in today's market. I want to speak directly to your heart now, because I know many of you watching are holding on to collections inherited from parents and grandparents, and somewhere in those old albums and cigar boxes, there might be a 1948 Philadelphia wheat penny that your loved one set aside decades ago without knowing why. They just felt it was special, they sensed it had a certain glow, a certain sharpness of detail, and they preserved it not because they were coin experts, but because they had an intuition that this little copper disc was worth keeping. And now, 77 years later, that intuition could be rewarded beyond their wildest dreams, because the 1948 no mint mark penny market is at an inflection point. The supply of high-grade examples is drying up. The population reports from PCGS and NGC show shockingly low numbers in the gem grades. And when supply is this low and collector demand is this high, prices don't just creep up, they explode, they skyrocket, they shatter ceilings that nobody thought possible. Here is your precise action plan, and I want you to execute it immediately after this video ends. First, gather every single 1948 wheat penny you can find. Look at the area just below the date. If there is absolutely no letter mark, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, you have a Philadelphia strike. Second, examine the coin's surface under a bright light. Look for that blazing original red color, the sign of a coin that was never circulated. Third, take a magnifying glass, a jeweler's loupe, anything that gives you 10 times magnification, and study Lincoln's cheek, his eye, the date, and the wheat stalks on the reverse for any sign of doubling, any ghost image, any split in the letters or numbers. Fourth, if you find a coin that is red, untouched, and possibly doubled, handle it only by the edges, place it in a non-PVC soft plastic flip, and send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading immediately. Do not wait, do not try to clean it, do not rub it with a cloth. Every second that coin sits unprotected is a risk, and every grade point matters when we're talking about potential thousands of dollars. The 1948 wheat no mint mark penny is the classic underdog story. It's the coin that was born in an era of peace and prosperity, overlooked by collectors chasing wartime rarities, forgotten in drawers and albums for decades, but now, right now, it's having its moment of redemption. And the people who watch this video until the very end, the people who take this information seriously and act on it, are the people who will be telling their own success stories at coin shows for years to come. So, I'm asking you, from the deepest part of my passion for this hobby and my desire to see regular people win, do not let this knowledge sit idle. Go hunt, go search, go look at every 1948 penny in your possession with new eyes and a racing heart, because somewhere out there, a little copper coin from Philadelphia, struck in the hopeful year of 1948, is waiting to be discovered by someone who finally understands its true worth, and that someone could very well be you, watching this video. Listening to every word, ready to change your life with a single cent. This is the Hidden Coin Authority, and I'll see you on the next hunt. I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now, close every other tab, put your phone on silent, and give me your complete undivided attention, because what I'm about to reveal about the 1951 wheat penny with no mint mark is so shocking, so financially explosive, and so completely ignored by the mainstream coin community that by the time this video ends, you will be rushing to check every old coin jar, every forgotten drawer, and every inherited collection in your house with trembling hands and a racing heart. The year is 1951, Harry Truman is in the White House, America is in the middle of the Korean War, television is taking over American living rooms, and the United States Mint in Philadelphia, the great mother mint of our nation, is silently producing what would become one of the most misunderstood, misidentified, and potentially life-changing wheat pennies in the entire Lincoln cent series. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that a single 1951 no-mint mark penny, a coin you could have received in change from a grocery store just a few decades ago, has the potential to pay off your debts, fund your retirement, or change your family's future forever. And the reason nobody is talking about this coin is because they're all looking in the wrong places, chasing the famous dates while the smartest collectors in the world are quietly accumulating 1951 Philadelphia pennies at shockingly low prices before the market wakes up and the window of opportunity slams shut forever. Let me explain the historical context that makes the 1951 no-mint mark penny so extraordinarily special and so criminally undervalued. By 1951 the Philadelphia Mint was producing wheat pennies at an absolutely staggering rate, over 284 million of them, because the post-war economic boom meant Americans were spending money like never before. The middle class was exploding, and every single transaction required pennies, but here's the secret that the general public doesn't understand: when you produce that many coins at that incredible speed, something has to give, and in 1951 what gave was quality control. The Philadelphia Mint was running their coin presses 24 hours a day, the dies were wearing out faster than they could replace them, the planchets were being fed through the machinery at breakneck speed, and this perfect storm of rushed production created a hidden universe of error coins, die varieties, and condition rarities that are now worth thousands upon thousands of dollars to the collectors who are educated enough to recognize them. And I'm going to teach you exactly what to look for right now, so stay with me and do not skip a single second. The first and most valuable secret of the 1951 no-mint mark penny is the legendary double die obverse variety, and this is not some subtle doubling that requires a microscope and a PhD to identify. I'm talking about bold, dramatic doubling that you can see with your naked eye if you know where to look. Focus your attention on the date, specifically the numbers, 1951. Look at the top of the 1 and the curve of the 5, and if you see a distinct secondary image, a ghost-like shadow that makes the numbers appear to vibrate with a double impression, your heart should start pounding because you might be holding a coin that has sold at major auctions for 5 figures. Now move your examination to the word Liberty on the left side of Lincoln's portrait. On the genuine double die variety, the letters will show clear, unmistakable splitting. The L will have a second vertical line right next to it, the B will have a doubled curve, and the R will show a ghost letter hovering just above the main impression. And the most dramatic diagnostic of all is Lincoln's eye. On the true 1951 Philadelphia double die, Lincoln doesn't have one eye, he has an eye with a clear, distinct second eyelid just slightly below the main one, giving him an almost tired, haunting expression that once you see, you can never unsee. And a certified example of this variety in uncirculated condition is not a $1,000 coin, it's not a $5,000 coin, it has crossed the $20,000 threshold and continues to climb as more collectors finally wake up to the importance of the 1951 Philadelphia strike. But I'm not finished, because there's another variety that's even rarer and even more valuable to the trained eye, and it's called the 1951 no-mint mark repunched die variety, where the mint workers in Philadelphia, exhausted from the relentless production demands of the Korean War era, accidentally punched the design elements into the working die twice at slightly different angles, creating a coin where the wheat stalks on the reverse show subtle but distinct doubling, where the letters of 1 cent and United States of America display a secondary ghost image, and this variety is so rare that many veteran coin dealers have never even seen one in person. They've only read about them in reference books. So if you find a 1951 Philadelphia penny with doubling on the reverse wheat ears, you are in possession of a coin so scarce that when it appears at auction, it creates a feeding frenzy among registry set collectors who have been waiting years, sometimes decades, for one to surface. And the final hammer price can reach absolutely staggering heights that I will reveal in just a moment. Now let me address the condition rarity aspect, which is where the true life-changing money hides. Because most 1951 no-mint mark pennies have been through absolute hell over the past 73 years, they've been circulated through millions of hands, they've been thrown into piggy banks, they've been run through coin counting machines, they've been buried in gardens and dug up by metal detector enthusiasts. And finding a 1951 Philadelphia wheat penny in pristine, gem uncirculated condition with full original mint red luster is like finding a needle in 1,000 haystacks. The copper used in 1951 had a tendency to tone and darken quickly when exposed to air and humidity, so a coin that has retained its blazing, fiery orange-red color with 0 spots, 0 carbon flecks, and 0 handling marks is a miracle of preservation that deserves to be treated like the treasure it is. And when one of these MS-67 or MS-68 red specimens appears at a heritage auction or a Stax Bowers event, wealthy collectors engage in bidding wars that can drive the final price to $5,000, $8,000, even $12,000 for a single penny, and the population reports from PCGS and NGC confirmed that only a microscopic number of 1951 no-mint mark pennies have been graded at the MS-67 red level or higher, making them mathematically rarer than many of the famous key date coins that everyone chases. Let me give you the exact price breakdown that you need to memorize. A heavily circulated, brown 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny is worth its copper melt value, maybe 3 to 5 cents. A nice red-brown uncirculated example with some remaining luster can fetch $30 to $50. An MS-64 red certified coin is a $100 to $200 piece. An MS-65 red jumps to $300 to $500. An MS-66 red, which is already extremely difficult to find for a 1951 Philadelphia strike, commands $1,000 to $1,500. And if you find an MS-67 red, you are looking at a coin that can sell for $4,000 to $7,000 depending on eye appeal and strike quality. And if the impossible happens and you discover an MS-68 red 1951 no-mint mark penny, you have just found a coin that could realistically sell for $10,000 to $15,000 and potentially set a new auction record. And for the double die varieties I described earlier, the prices are even more extreme. A circulated 1951 double die obverse can sell for $2,000 to $3,000, while an uncirculated example with full red luster can command $20,000, $25,000, or even $30,000 from a motivated buyer who needs it to complete their registry set. I want to speak directly to your soul for a moment, because I know many of you watching this video are holding on to coin collections that were started by your fathers, your grandfathers, your uncles who served in the Korean War and came home to build a better life. And those men collected coins not because they were thinking about future profits, but because they found beauty in the history, they found peace in the hobby, and they had an instinct that these little copper discs would one day mean something to the generations that followed. And now that instinct is being proven right, because a 1951 Philadelphia wheat penny that your grandfather pulled from his pocket change and set aside in a glass jar 73 years ago could now be worth enough money to pay for your child's college education, to cover your medical bills, to finally give you the financial breathing room you've been praying for. And your grandfather knew it. Somehow, in his bones, he knew that these coins were special, and now it's your responsibility to honor his legacy by identifying the treasures he left behind. Here is your immediate mission, and I need you to take this seriously because this knowledge is useless without action. Go get every single 1951 wheat penny in your possession, check the area below the date for the absence of a mint mark, confirming it's a Philadelphia strike, then take a magnifying glass with at least 10 times magnification and examine the date, the word Liberty, and Lincoln's eye for any sign of doubling, any ghost image, any splitting of the letters. Then flip the coin over and examine the wheat stalks on the reverse for the same doubling effect. Pay special attention to the tips of the wheat grains and the letters of 1 cent, then examine the coin's surface for that blazing original red luster, the sign of a coin that was never circulated, never cleaned, never mishandled. And if you find a 1951 no-mint mark penny that shows any of these characteristics, handle it only by the edges. Place it immediately in a non-PVC soft plastic holder, and send it to Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation for professional certification. Do not wait, do not delay, and under absolutely no circumstances should you clean the coin with any substance whatsoever, because cleaning a 1951 penny destroys its value by 90% instantly. The original surface is the coin's fingerprint, its proof of authenticity, its certificate of untouched history, and once that surface is altered, the coin is forever damaged in the eyes of serious collectors. The 1951 wheat no-mint mark penny is the ultimate sleeper coin. It's the coin that the YouTube experts scroll past, it's the coin that the TikTok influencers don't understand, but it's the coin that the old... I want you to take a deep breath right now, because what I'm about to share with you regarding the 1952 wheat penny with no mint mark is not just another coin story. This is a revelation that could fundamentally alter your financial future, and I need you to understand that every single second of this video contains information that wealthy collectors have spent decades trying to keep quiet. Because while the entire coin collecting world chases the famous rarities like the 1909 SVDB and the 1943 copper cent, the 1952 Philadelphia wheat penny has been sitting in plain sight, completely ignored, completely underestimated, and completely mispriced. And the collectors who recognize what's happening right now are quietly building positions in high-grade 1952 no-mint mark pennies before the market corrects and prices explode to levels that will shock the entire numismatic community. Let me transport you to the year 1952. Dwight D. Eisenhower is about to be elected president, the Korean War is still raging, the American economy is transforming from a wartime machine into a consumer paradise, and the Philadelphia Mint is producing wheat pennies at an absolutely unprecedented volume, striking over 186 million of these little copper coins. But here is the devastating truth that makes the 1952 no-mint mark penny one of the most exciting treasure hunts you can embark on right now. When a mint produces that many coins, the quality control becomes a nightmare, the dies wear out, the planchets get mixed with impurities, the striking pressure fluctuates, and out of this beautiful chaos, a tiny number of error coins and condition rarities are born, coins that look almost identical to their common cousins but contain subtle, valuable differences that can turn a 1-cent piece into a 5-figure payday, and I'm going to teach you exactly how to identify these sleeping giants. The 1952 Philadelphia no-mint mark penny holds a special place in numismatic history because it represents one of the final years of the wheat ear reverse design, the beloved design that had been on the Lincoln cent since 1909, and by 1952, the dies at the Philadelphia Mint were becoming tired, overused, and sometimes improperly prepared, creating a perfect storm for the formation of double die varieties that are now worth absolutely staggering amounts of money, and I need you to pay extremely close attention to what I'm about to describe because the 1952 double die obverse is one of the most overlooked and potentially valuable varieties in the entire series. Look at the date, look at the 1952, and focus specifically on the base of the numbers. If you see a distinct secondary impression, a shadow that makes the numbers look like they're floating slightly above their actual position, you need to keep looking. Now shift your gaze to the word Liberty and examine the B and the R very carefully. On the genuine double die variety, these letters will show clear separation, clear doubling that you can see without a microscope if your eyes are sharp enough, and the ultimate diagnostic, the one that separates a common machine doubling from a genuine double die worth thousands, is Lincoln's eye and the bridge of his nose. On the authentic 1952 Philadelphia double die, there is a distinct doubling on the eyelid and the eyebrow, giving Lincoln a slightly dazed, almost hypnotic expression that is completely absent on normal strikes. And if you find this coin, if you hold in your hand a certified 1952 no-mint mark double die obverse in uncirculated condition, you are holding a coin that has sold at major auction houses for $15,000, $20,000, and in the highest grades, even $25,000. But the double die is only the beginning of the 1952 Philadelphia story, because there exists an even rarer and even more mysterious variety known among elite collectors as the 1952 no-mint mark repunched mint mark, which sounds contradictory since there is no mint mark to repunch, but what actually happened was far more fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint in 1952 was experimenting with different die preparation techniques, and on a tiny handful of working dies, the engraver accidentally applied a faint, ghost-like impression of a mint mark punch in the wrong location before correcting it, leaving behind microscopic traces that can only be seen under high magnification but that absolutely explode the coin's value when certified by PCGS or NGC. These coins show a faint, almost invisible depression or outline in the area just below the date where a mint mark would normally appear, and collectors who specialize in these ultra-rare die varieties will pay shocking premiums. Sometimes 10 to 15 times the price of a normal coin in the same grade, because owning something that almost nobody knows exists is the ultimate flex in the world of high-end numismatics. Now let me address the condition rarity aspect that will make your jaw drop, because most 1952 wheat pennies have been absolutely destroyed by circulation over the past 72 years, they've been through washing machines, they've been run over by cars in parking lots, they've been sitting in the bottom of purses and pockets being scratched and worn down until Lincoln's face is barely recognizable. And finding a 1952 no-mint mark penny in pristine, gem uncirculated condition with full, blazing original red luster is a genuine numismatic miracle. The copper used in 1952 was particularly reactive to environmental conditions. It would tone, spot, and turn brown very quickly when exposed to air and humidity, so a 1952 Philadelphia penny that has somehow survived over 7 decades with its original fiery orange-red color intact, with no carbon spots, no handling marks, no signs of cleaning or dipping, is so rare that when one appears at a Heritage or Stack's Bowers auction, it creates a genuine sensation in the collecting community, and I'm going to give you the exact price data that will make your head spin. a circulated brown 1952 no mint mark penny is worth face value or maybe 3 to 5 cents, a nice red-brown uncirculated example might fetch $20 to $30, an MS-64 red certified coin is a $75 to $125 piece. An MS-65 red jumps to $250 to $400, an MS-66 red, which is already extremely difficult to locate for a 1952 Philadelphia strike, commands $800 to $1,200, and if you find an MS-67 red, a coin so flawless and so perfectly preserved that it looks like it was struck yesterday instead of 72 years ago, you are looking at a coin that can sell for $3,000 to $5,000. And if the impossible happens and an MS-68 red 1952 no mint mark penny surfaces, a coin that has somehow defied all the odds and survived in virtually perfect condition, you have just found a treasure worth $10,000 to $15,000, and the population reports confirm that these ultra-high-grade examples are so scarce that you can count them on your fingers. I want to share something deeply personal with you right now, because I know that many of you watching this video are not just coin collectors looking for profit, you are people who have inherited collections from loved ones who lived through the 1950s, people who remember their parents and grandparents talking about the early days of the Eisenhower administration, the end of the Korean War, the beginning of the rock and roll era, and those memories are embedded in every single 1952 wheat penny you hold. Your grandfather might have received that coin in his paycheck at the factory, your grandmother might have saved it from her grocery shopping money, and they kept it not because they knew it would be valuable someday, but because they lived through the Great Depression and they learned never to throw anything away. They learned that everything has potential value, and now, 72 years later, their frugality and their wisdom might finally pay off in ways they could never have imagined, because that little copper coin they tucked away in a mason jar could now be worth enough to change your life, and honoring their memory by finding and preserving these coins is one of the most beautiful things you can do as a collector and as a descendant. Here is your exact mission, and I need you to execute it with precision and urgency. Gather every single 1952 wheat penny you can find, look at the area directly below the date. If there is no D for Denver and no S for San Francisco, you have a Philadelphia no mint mark strike. Now take a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe with at least 10 times magnification and begin your examination. Look at the date first, especially the 2 in 1952, check for any doubling, any shadow image, any sign that the number was struck twice. Move to the word Liberty and examine the letters for splitting or ghosting, then focus on Lincoln's eye and eyebrow for that doubled eyelid diagnostic. Now flip the coin over and examine the wheat stalks on the reverse. Look at the individual grains of wheat and the letters of 1 cent and United States of America for any sign of doubling or repunching. Then evaluate the coin's color. Is it brown and dull from circulation, or does it have that blazing, fiery original red luster that signals an uncirculated coin? Are there any spots, any carbon flecks, any scratches, any signs that someone tried to clean or polish the coin? If you find a 1952 no mint mark penny that shows doubling, or that has stunning original red color with minimal marks, handle it only by the edges. Never touch the faces with your fingers. Place it immediately in a non-PVC soft plastic holder or a Mylar flip, and send it to Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation for professional certification and grading. Do not attempt to clean the coin under any circumstances. Do not use vinegar. Do not use baking soda. Do not use metal polish. Do not even wipe it with a soft cloth, because cleaning a 1952 penny destroys its value instantly and permanently. The original surface, the natural patina, the untouched skin of the coin is what collectors are paying for, and once that surface is altered, the coin is forever damaged in the eyes of serious buyers. The 1952 wheat no mint mark penny is the definition of a sleeping giant. It's the coin that everyone overlooks because they're too busy chasing the famous key dates, but the smart money, the elite collectors who have been building fortunes in this hobby for decades, they know the truth. They know that the early 1950s Philadelphia wheat pennies contain some of the rarest condition rarities and era varieties in existence. And prepare yourself for a truth so powerful and so financially electrifying that it will forever change the way you look at a tiny copper coin with the letter D stamped below the date, because the 1956 Denver mint wheat penny is not just another old cent, it is a ticking time bomb of hidden value that the mainstream coin community has criminally overlooked for decades. And I'm going to reveal exactly why this specific coin, struck in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, represents one of the greatest treasure hunting opportunities available to regular people like you and me right now, in this exact moment, while the rest of the world is sleeping. The year is 1956, Dwight Eisenhower is in the White House, Elvis Presley is taking over the radio waves, the Cold War is intensifying, and America is experiencing a period of unprecedented prosperity and growth, and down in Denver, Colorado, the Denver Mint is working at full capacity, striking over 1,100,000,000 wheat pennies, and when I say that number, I know your first instinct might be to think that such a massive mintage means these coins are common and worthless, but that assumption is exactly what keeps the average person poor while the educated collectors build wealth, because within that ocean of over 1 billion coins, there exists a tiny, elite group of error coins, die varieties, and condition rarities that are so scarce, so breathtakingly beautiful, and so historically significant that they command prices that will make your hands shake when you finally see the numbers. The Denver Mint in 1956 was under immense pressure. The American economy was consuming coins at a rate never seen before, vending machines were becoming ubiquitous, penny candy was still a thing, and every single cash register in the country needed a steady supply of cents, so the Denver Mint pushed their machinery to the absolute limit. Dies were used far beyond their intended lifespan. Planchets were fed through the presses at maximum speed, and quality control inspectors were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of coins flying past their eyes, and this perfect storm of rushed production and worn-out equipment created a hidden universe of mint errors that are now worth thousands of dollars to the collectors who are educated enough to recognize them, and I'm going to teach you exactly what to look for so you never accidentally spend a fortune on a pack of gum. Let me tell you about the king of all 1956 D errors, the legendary double die obverse, and this is not some minor, barely visible doubling that requires an electron microscope to see. This is bold, dramatic doubling that jumps out at you once you know where to look. Focus your attention on the word Liberty on the left side of Lincoln's portrait, on the genuine 1956 D double die. The letters show unmistakable splitting. The L has a distinct secondary vertical line right next to the main impression. The B shows a doubled upper loop, and the R has a clear ghost letter hovering just above the primary strike. Now shift your gaze to the date, the 1956, and look very carefully at the top of the 5 and the loop of the 6 on the double die variety. These numbers will show a distinct secondary image, a shadow that makes the date look almost like it's vibrating. And the most dramatic diagnostic of all, the one that will make your heart stop when you see it, is Lincoln's eye. On the genuine 1956 D double die obverse, Lincoln has a clearly doubled eyelid, a second crease just below the main one, and the eyebrow above it shows a similar ghosting effect, giving Lincoln an expression that looks almost supernatural, and this variety is so rare that when a certified, high-grade example appears at a Heritage or Stack's Bowers auction, the bidding war that ensues can drive the final hammer price to $12,000, $15,000, and in the highest uncirculated grades, even beyond $20,000 for a single penny. But the double die is only the beginning of the 1956 D story, because there's another variety that's even more fascinating and even more valuable to the dedicated specialist. It's called the D over D, or repunched mint mark variety. And this happens when the Denver Mint engraver, working under the intense pressure of producing over 1 billion coins, accidentally punched the D mint mark into the working die at one angle, realized it wasn't perfectly aligned, and then punched it again at a slightly different angle, leaving behind traces of the original impression that can still be seen under magnification. And on the 1956 D, this repunched mint mark can show up in several different orientations. Sometimes the secondary D appears slightly to the left, sometimes slightly to the right, sometimes rotated a few degrees clockwise. And each of these different repunched mint mark positions represents a distinct die variety that specialist collectors are desperate to acquire for their registry sets, and the prices for these repunched mint mark varieties can range from $200 for a circulated example up to $3,000 or more for a beautiful uncirculated specimen with full original red luster. Now I need to address the condition rarity aspect of the 1956 D wheat penny, which is where the truly life-changing money is hiding, because while over 1 billion of these coins were struck, the overwhelming majority of them were immediately released into circulation where they were subjected to 70 years of brutal punishment. They were carried in pockets with keys and knives. They were dropped on sidewalks and run over by cars. They were fed into vending machines and coin counters. They were stored in coffee cans and sock drawers where they banged against each other, accumulating scratches and dings, and finding a 1956 D wheat penny in pristine, gem uncirculated condition with blazing full original red luster is a genuine numismatic miracle. The Denver Mint in 1956 was not known for producing coins with beautiful, sharp strikes. In fact, Many 1956D pennies were struck from worn dies that produced a soft, mushy appearance even on uncirculated coins, so a 1956D that is not only uncirculated but also fully struck up with razor-sharp details on Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks is doubly rare and doubly valuable, and the population reports from PCGS and NGC confirmed that high-grade 1956D red pennies are shockingly scarce, much scarcer than their massive mintage would suggest. And that scarcity is what drives the prices into the stratosphere when a truly exceptional example appears at auction. Let me give you the exact dollar figures that will burn this into your memory forever. A circulated brown 1956D wheat penny, the kind you might find in a dealer's 5-cent bin, is worth its copper melt value and nothing more. A nice red-brown uncirculated example with some remaining luster might fetch $10 to $20. An MS64 red certified coin is a $40 to $60 piece. An MS65 red jumps to $100 to $150. An MS66 red, which is already very difficult to find for a 1956D due to the typically poor strike quality, commands $300 to $500, and if you find an MS67 red, a coin that has survived over 68 years with its original fiery orange-red color fully intact, with a strong full strike, with 0 spots and 0 handling marks, you are looking at a coin that can sell for $1,500 to $2,500. And if by some miracle you discover an MS68 red 1956D, a grade so rare that the population reports show only a tiny handful of examples, you have found a treasure worth $5,000 to $8,000, and for the double die and repunched mint mark varieties, the prices are even more extreme. A circulated 1956D double die obverse can sell for $800 to $1,500, while an uncirculated example with full red luster can command $10,000, $15,000, or even $20,000 from a motivated buyer who needs that specific variety to complete their collection. I want to speak directly to your heart now, because I know that many of you watching this video have personal connections to the year 1956, perhaps you were born in that year, or your parents were married in that year, or you remember listening to Elvis on the radio and feeling like the whole world was changing, and that emotional connection to history is what makes coin collecting such a powerful and meaningful hobby. It's not just about the money, it's about holding a piece of time in your hands, it's about connecting with the past in a tangible, physical way, and a 1956D wheat penny that your father saved in his coin album, or that your grandmother found in her change at the grocery store, is a direct link to that incredible era of American history, and if that coin also happens to be a rare double die or a high-grade condition rarity worth thousands of dollars, then your family's sentimental treasure has also become a financial treasure, and that is the kind of win-win situation that makes life beautiful. Here is your exact mission, and I need you to take it seriously and execute it with focus and determination. Gather every single 1956 wheat penny in your possession, look at the area directly below the date, and identify the coins that have the D mint mark confirming their Denver origin. Now take a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe with at least 10 times magnification and begin your careful examination. First look at the D mint mark itself, check for any signs of repunching, any secondary images, any doubling or ghosting around the letter. Then move to the word Liberty and examine each letter for the splitting and doubling that characterizes the double die obverse. Then focus on Lincoln's eye and eyebrow, looking for that doubled eyelid diagnostic. Then examine the date, especially the 5 and the 6, for any shadow images or doubling. Now flip the coin over and look at the wheat stalks on the reverse. Examine the individual grains of wheat for any doubling, and check the letters of 1 cent and United States of America for any signs of repunching or doubling, then evaluate the overall condition and color of the coin. Is it a dull brown from heavy circulation, or does it have that stunning, fiery original red luster that collectors crave? Are the details sharply struck or are they soft and mushy? Are there any scratches, spots, or signs of cleaning? If you find a 1956D penny that shows any doubling, or that has exceptional original red color with a strong strike, handle it only by the edges. Never touch the surfaces with your fingers because the oils from your skin can damage the coin's delicate luster. Right now, at this very second, there is a coin sitting somewhere in America that represents the end of an era, the final chapter of a beloved American tradition, and almost nobody understands its true value, and I'm talking about the 1957 Denver mint mark wheat penny, a coin that holds secrets so profound and so potentially profitable that by the time I finish revealing them, you will be looking at every 1957D penny in your possession with completely new eyes and a racing heartbeat. The year 1957 is monumental in American numismatic history for one overwhelming reason that should make every single collector sit up and pay attention. This was the second to last year of the wheat ear reverse design, the beautiful, iconic wheat stalks that had graced the back of the Lincoln cent since 1909 were about to be replaced forever by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. And the Denver Mint, knowing that the end was coming, produced over 1,100,000,000 wheat pennies. In 1957, but here's the devastating irony that creates a massive opportunity for smart collectors like you, because the mintage was so enormous, because people assumed these coins would be common forever, they were spent, they were hoarded without care, they were allowed to deteriorate, and the vast majority of 1957 wheat pennies that survive today are in worn, circulated, damaged condition, which means that finding a truly exceptional, high-grade, error-free specimen is like finding a diamond in an ocean of broken glass, and the collectors who understand this dynamic are willing to pay absolutely staggering amounts of money to acquire the finest known examples. The Denver Mint in 1957 was an absolute powerhouse of production. They were striking coins at a furious pace to meet the demands of a booming American economy, but this breakneck speed came at a cost. The dies were being used far beyond their intended lifespan, the planchets were not being inspected as carefully as they should have been, and the overall quality of the strikes coming out of Denver in 1957 was notoriously inconsistent. Many coins show weakness in the strike, especially on Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks. Many coins have contact marks from banging against each other in the massive bins where they were stored before being shipped to banks, and many coins develop spots and toning from the less than ideal storage conditions of the late 1950s. So when you find a 1957 wheat penny that somehow escaped all of these problems, a coin that was struck with full, razor-sharp details, that was preserved without a single significant mark, that retained its blazing original mint red luster, you are holding a coin that is mathematically rarer than many of the famous key dates that everyone chases, and the auction prices prove it. Let me tell you about the most valuable and sought-after error variety for the 1957 wheat penny, the legendary double die obverse, and this variety is so dramatic, so visually striking, that once you see it, you will never forget it. Focus your attention on the date, the 1957, and look very carefully at the top of the 1, the curve of the 9, the crossbar of the 5, and the angle of the 7. On the genuine double die, these numbers show a distinct, clear secondary image that makes the entire date appear to be vibrating with a ghostly shadow. Now shift your gaze to the word Liberty on the left side of Lincoln's portrait. Examine the L for a doubled vertical stroke, examine the B for a doubled upper loop, examine the R for a ghost letter floating just above the main impression, and the most important diagnostic of all, the one that confirms you have the real double die and not just common machine doubling, is Lincoln's eye, on the authentic 1957 double die obverse. The eyelid shows unmistakable doubling, a second crease that runs parallel to the main eyelid, and the brow above it shows the same ghosting effect, and this variety in certified uncirculated condition with full red luster has sold at major auctions for $15,000, $18,000, and in the highest grades, even surpassing $22,000. And there are wealthy collectors with standing orders at auction houses right now, desperately waiting for a high-grade 1957 doubled die to surface so they can add it to their registry sets. But the double die is not the only treasure hiding in plain sight, because the 1957 also has a fascinating and valuable repunched mint mark variety, where the D mint mark below the date was punched into the working die more than once at slightly different angles, and on the 1957 this repunching can manifest in several different orientations. Sometimes the secondary D appears slightly higher and to the left, sometimes it appears lower and to the right, sometimes it's rotated a few degrees, creating a subtle but distinct doubling of the mint mark that is highly prized by variety collectors, and a certified 1957 repunched mint mark in high grade with original red luster can command prices from $300 for a circulated example up to $2,000 or more for a pristine uncirculated specimen, and the thrill of discovering one of these varieties yourself, of being the first person to recognize what you're holding, is an experience that no amount of money can buy. Now I need to address the condition rarity aspect with total honesty and clarity, because this is where the truly life-changing money is concentrated. The 1957 wheat penny in top pop, meaning the highest graded examples in existence, is an absolute ghost. It is nearly impossible to find, and the reason is simple. The Denver Mint's quality control in 1957 was not focused on producing beautiful collector coins, they were focused on producing massive quantities of circulating coinage as fast as possible, so the coins were dumped into huge bags, transported roughly, and distributed into commerce where they were immediately subjected to 70 years of abuse. So finding a 1957 D that somehow survived all of that, that has full blazing original red luster, that has a strong full strike with no weakness, that has no carbon spots, no contact marks, no evidence of cleaning or dipping, is a numismatic miracle that deserves to be celebrated, and the population reports from PCGS and NGC tell the brutal truth. In MS67 red, the number of certified examples is shockingly low. In MS68 red, you can count them on one hand, and if an MS69 red 1957D were to ever surface, it would be a national news event in the coin world, and the bidding war would push the price into the tens of thousands of dollars. Let me give you the exact price breakdown that you need to memorize and use as your guide. A heavily circulated, brown 1957D wheat penny with no errors is worth 3 to 5 cents, basically its copper melt value. A nice red-brown uncirculated example with some remaining luster might fetch $8 to $15. An MS64 red certified coin is a $30 to $50 piece. An MS65 red jumps to $75 to $125. An MS66 red, which is already very difficult to find for a 1957D due to the quality control issues I mentioned, commands $200 to $350, and if you find an MS67 red, a coin that looks like it was struck yesterday with full blazing luster and virtually no marks, you are looking at a coin worth $800 to $1,500. And if a miracle happens and you discover an MS68 red 1957D, you have just found a treasure that can sell for $3,000 to $5,000, and for the error. Varieties, a circulated 1957D double die obverse can sell for $1,000 to $2,000, while an uncirculated red example can command $10,000, $15,000, even $20,000 or more. I want to share something deeply meaningful with you, because the 1957 Denver wheat penny represents something profoundly emotional for many collectors. It represents the end of childhood for an entire generation. It represents the last years of the 1950s before the turbulent 1960s changed everything. It represents sock hops and drive-in movies and the birth of rock and roll. And if you were alive in 1957, or if your parents or grandparents were building their lives in that year, holding a 1957 D wheat penny is like holding a time machine in the palm of your hand. It's a direct physical connection to a moment in history that will never come again, and if that emotional connection is combined with the financial windfall of discovering a rare variety or a top-grade specimen, then you have experienced the ultimate thrill that this hobby can offer, and that is why I do what I do, that is why I make these videos. Because I want you to experience that thrill, I want you to find that treasure, and I want you to honor the history that these coins represent. Here is your precise action plan, and I want you to follow it step by step without delay. Collect every 1957 wheat penny you can find, look below the date and identify the coins with the D mint mark for Denver. Now grab a quality magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe with at least 10 times magnification. Start by examining the D mint mark itself. Look for any signs of repunching, any secondary images, any doubling or ghosting around the letter. Next move to the date and examine the 1957 very carefully, especially the top of the 1 and the curve of the 7, looking for that shadow doubling effect. Then study the word Liberty letter by letter, checking for split serifs and ghost letters. Then focus intently on Lincoln's eye, looking for that doubled eyelid that confirms a genuine doubled die. Now flip the coin and examine the reverse. Look at the wheat stalks for any doubling or splitting of the individual grains. Check the letters of 1 cent and E pluribus unum for any anomalies. Then evaluate the coin's condition. Is it a dull brown circulated coin, or does it have that stunning blazing original red luster? Is the strike sharp and full, or is it weak and mushy? Are there any carbon spots, scratches, or signs of cleaning? If you find a 1957D that shows doubling, or that has exceptional original color with a sharp strike and minimal marks, handle it only by the edges with clean hands. Never touch the faces. Place it immediately in a non-PVC holder or mylar. Flip, and send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading.